Chapter 26. Captain Shen, is there any news on the matter I entrusted you with before? After dealing with the minor incident, Gao Bo went straight to the point. There is no news yet, but I have asked my brothers to expand the search area. I will notify you as soon as there is any news. Shen Kuo shook his head. Then I'll trouble you. Whether she is dead or alive, I hope to get the news as soon as possible. Gao Bo looked relaxed. After saying a few words, he led the team away. Before leaving, Wang Tianyu glared at Liu Xingchi viciously. However, when he saw Shen Kuo with a fierce look on his face, he immediately lowered his head. It's strange. Where does this poor boy get the money to hire a top mercenary group? Wang Tianyu muttered to himself, feeling indignant. Brother Liu, do you have a grudge against that boy? Shen Kuo raised his eyebrows and couldn't help but ask. Liu Xingchi shook his head. My classmate has awakened a rare profession and is a little arrogant. Don't worry about it. I understand. Shen Kuo stroked his chin lightly and instantly understood what he meant. It was nothing but jealousy among classmates. He had also been through this age, so how could he not know the answer? After a brief pause, Shen Kuo continued, that guy is quite lucky. If Gao Bo's team had not been attacked and all the members had not been dispersed, he would not have been qualified to join Gao Bo's team. Gao Bo just asked you to find someone. Could it be that you were looking for his lost teammates? Liu Xingchi asked. Shen Kuo nodded and said in a deep voice, yes, in fact, we are mainly looking for the eldest daughter of the Jialan family. The eldest lady of the Jialan family. Liu Xingchi muttered something softly and soon thought of Jialangxiu. The person who could make the legendary professional Gao Bo look for him everywhere and who was treated specially by the Abyss Church must be no ordinary person. At least he is an extremely rare legendary professional. How, do you know her? Shen Kuo asked when he saw Liu Xingchi's reaction was a little strange. Liu Xingchi shook his head. I don't know her. I'm just a little curious. What's so special about the Miss Jialan you mentioned? Jialangxiu is not ordinary. Not to mention her beauty, she is also a rare oracle priest who only appears once in a century. She has a unique support ability, but most importantly, she also has a natural aura that increases experience points. It is said that she has the ability to bring the dead back to life in the later stages. When talking about Jialangxiu, Shen Kuo's eyes were full of admiration and he talked incessantly. Experience aura, resurrection. Liu Xingchi was also startled, and secretly complained, it's too hasty, it seems that having such a teammate is not bad. Not to mention the powerful auxiliary capabilities, what Liu Xingchi coveted the most was the talent aura that could increase experience points. The reason why he was reluctant to find teammates was mainly because he was worried that it would delay his own upgrade speed. However, the Oracle Priest is an outlier. Not only will it not reduce the experience points, but it will also greatly increase the upgrade speed. In the later period, she even possesses the miraculous ability to bring the dead back to life. Having her with you is like having a life-saving talisman. No wonder the Abyss Church tried every means to capture him and make him a saint, and geniuses like Gao Bo were also looking for him everywhere. Ah, it's such a pity. The Abyss Church has always been ruthless and cruel. Miss Jialan is probably in danger. Our great Xia has lost a future star. At the end, Shen Kuo sighed helplessly. Given the style of the Abyss Church, they will never let her come back alive. Don't be too pessimistic. Maybe there will be a miracle. Liu Xingchi said suddenly. Shen Kuo acted like a man with experience and shook his head, saying, you are still too young and don't understand the horror of the Abyss Church. Liu Xingchi smiled slightly but didn't say anything. He was thinking about what he should do if Jialangxiu came to him. Master, Master! Suddenly, a man with the greedy wolf badge on his chest ran over in a hurry. Maybe he was too excited and he was out of breath. Why are you panicking? What's the matter? Shen Kuo frowned and asked. We saw Miss Jialan. The man gasped heavily and spoke intermittently. What? Shen Kuo's pupils suddenly contracted, and he grabbed the man's shoulders. Where is she? I really found it. Liu Xingchi heard it carefully and looked behind him subconsciously. Just then, I saw Jialangxiu, dressed in white, walking towards the copy base. Not only him, most people's eyes were focused on Jialangxiu. There was no way, her temperament was too outstanding, and there were many members of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group following her. Even trying not to draw attention to yourself isn't easy. Jialangxiu's eyes kept scanning the vast crowd and almost instantly locked onto Liu Xingchi. With a beautiful smile on his lips, he walked towards Liu Xingchi without hesitation. Liu Xingchi's heart beat faster and faster as he caught a glimpse of Jialangxiu approaching. I didn't let the mechanical hound follow me, so how did she recognize me? Liu Xingchi was confused. Could this be a woman's sixth sense? Before Jialangxiu could get close, Gao Bo blocked her way. Shweer, great, you're still alive. Gao Bo changed his usual arrogant look and wanted to force a smile out of the wrinkles on his face. Jialangxiu's face was full of disgust, and she said in a serious tone, I am still alive, but they are all dead. At that time, when the Abyss Church surrounded them, Gao Bo, as the captain, was the first to escape. Because of this, except for her, the other 3 teammates were all killed and no one survived. She watched her teammates being slaughtered, and the pain is still hard to get over. If it weren't for the army of mechanical hounds that descended from the sky, her fate would have been even more miserable. You have to understand me. I am also considering the overall situation. Only if I escape, you will have a chance of survival. Faced with the pointing and criticizing from others, Gao Bo panicked and tried to defend himself with a frantic look. Yes, yes. The captain spent a lot of money and asked people everywhere to look for you. Wang Tianyu stood up and said with a smile. I've asked people everywhere to look for me. Very good. Jialangxiu was so angry that she laughed. Gao Bo, your level has increased very quickly. You have already reached level 18 in just a few days. If Gao Bo really felt guilty, he would go look for it himself. There is no time at all for him to come here to challenge the dungeon, and he even reached level 18 in just a few days. From this we can see that Gao Bo never took the matter of betraying his teammates to heart, and spending money to find someone was just a show. In order to prevent the Jialan family and the other murdered families from causing trouble for him, this hypocritical face is disgusting. Who told you to talk? Go back. Gao Bo didn't dare to get angry at Jialangxiu, so he could only vent his anger on Wang Tianyu, who was talking nonsense. Wang Tianyu was looking for an opportunity to flatter the emperor, but he ended up flattering the emperor's hoof, so he had to retreat in embarrassment. Chapter 27. Let's not talk about the past. You still have to think about the future. There's not much time left. You should hurry up and return to the team. I will help you level up. Gao Bo knew he was in the wrong, so he didn't dwell on the matter too much and instead changed the subject. Jialangxiu glanced at the people behind Gao Bo and said, Don't you have teammates? Why are you looking for me? Gao Bo kicked Wang Tianyu out of the team without saying anything. We are short of one person right now. Wang Tianyu? No, we were having a nice chat, why did you kick me? However, he only dared to complain a few words in his heart, he had no say in the team at all. I can only pray silently that Jialangxiu will not join the team. In this case, there might be a chance to rejoin Gao Bo's team. Sorry, I already have teammates. Jialangxiu's eyes were filled with disappointment, and she simply bypassed Gao Bo. This guy hasn't changed at all. In his eyes, everyone is just an indispensable tool. If it weren't for the special nature of his profession, I'm afraid he wouldn't have tried every possible means to beg him to join the team. Gao Bo was stunned for a moment, then quickly caught up with him. I know you're still mad at me, but now is not the time to be angry. You have to think about your future. Gao Bo, you are too self-righteous. Can I not upgrade without you? Jialangxiu kept walking, heading towards the direction where Liu Xingchi was. That's not what I meant. Gao Bo shook his head vigorously and explained quickly, I mean, besides me, who else here is qualified to be your teammate? As soon as these words were spoken, they immediately aroused the disgust of many people. However, when they thought about the fact that Gao Bo had just broken the copy record, they had to admit defeat. Jialangxiu looked determined and pointed at Liu Xingchi, of course, he is my new teammate. In an instant, everyone was stunned and looked at Liu Xingchi with curiosity. After discovering that it was an 11th level imp, everyone had question marks over their heads. After the doubts came the envy. Why was this kid so lucky to win the favor of Miss Jialan? Not to mention others, even Liu Xingchi himself was confused. There are at least 1,000 people here, and even if you use the Eye of Truth to scan them one by one, it will take some effort. Shweer, stop joking. Gao Bo glanced at Liu Xingchi and suddenly became relaxed. He said lightly, if you want to perfunctorily deal with me, at least find someone reliable. The Eye of Truth can check the levels and attributes of others. Liu Xingchi is just a level 11 novice. Without any equipment, his attributes are mediocre and there is nothing special about him. Who is kidding you? Jiangxu was extremely serious. Well, since you are so resolute, you must have known him for a long time. What is his name? Gao Bo refused to give up. He was sure that Jiangxu was just sulking. I just want to find someone at random to make him give up. He is. Jiangxu's face turned red and she stammered, unable to speak. This was the first time she met Liu Xingchi, so how could she know his name? In fact, she could have said that it was Liu Xingchi who saved her, but she didn't do so. Seeing this, Liu Xingchi felt a little more admiration for Jiangxu. Even though he was misunderstood, Jiangxu did not reveal any information that might be detrimental to him. Sure enough, you are just saying this in anger. Seeing that Jiangxu couldn't answer for a long time, Gao Bo became more certain of his guess. Before Gao Bo could finish his words, Liu Xingchi, who had been silent, stood up in time. He first smiled at Jiangxu, and then extended his hand. Hello, Liu Xingchi. Hello, Jiangxu. Jiangxu was stunned for a moment, her cheeks flushed, and she raised her hand with a faint smile. For a moment, everyone present was stunned. The two men introduced themselves to each other and it was clearly the first time they met. But why is it that it seems like a reunion of old friends, and the atmosphere seems a little unusual? Many people looked at Liu Xingchi with envy, jealousy, and hatred, wondering why such a good thing could not happen to them. Wang Tianyu stared with his eyes wide open, looking at the two of them in disbelief. Damn it! How am I worse than him? What on earth does Miss Jialan like about him? Wang Tianyu was puzzled and finally could only blame it on the baseball cap that covered his handsome face. Of course. You are really not a simple guy. Shen Kuo on the side had a sly smile on his face and looked at Liu Xingchi with a playful look. No matter what the reason is, Liu Xingchi must have some extraordinary qualities to be able to make the dignified Miss Jialan condescend to come to him in person. You too, do you think I don't exist? Gao Bo was about to explode with anger, and veins on his neck bulged. I never expected that Liu Xingchi would have the courage to stand up. It was simply a naked provocation. It's not that he couldn't accept Jiangxu looking for other teammates. After all, they had only known each other for a few days. But it should at least be acceptable. How can a mere 11th level loser replace him? Gao Bo even suspected that this kid Liu Xingchi was Jiangxu, who deliberately came to humiliate him. You. Just as Jiangxu was about to argue, Liu Xingchi stopped him and said, no need to say more, just leave it to me. Good. A ripple appeared in Jiangxu's heart, and she obediently retreated behind Liu Xingchi. She was not worried at all that Liu Xingchi would suffer a loss. A level 30 black-robed deacon was easily killed, so what could Gao Bo do to him? Liu Xingchi, you are so brave. Gao Bo laughed out of anger, his expression was crazy, and he had no trace of his former demeanor. I want to see what qualifications you have to become Jiangxu's teammate. Oh, then in your opinion, what does it take to be qualified? Liu Xingchi smiled slightly and shrugged nonchalantly. He finally realized that Gao Bo was a sticky plaster that couldn't be gotten rid of. If he is not convinced, he will probably not give up. If it were me, I could at least take her to challenge the Boneyard Dungeon. Gao Bo was arrogant and spoke loudly on purpose. Liu Xingchi frowned slightly and asked, you don't think I'm here to queue up for fun, do you? It's certainly not enough to challenge higher level copies, you also have to be able to break the copy record. Gao Bo added. No problem. Liu Xingchi nodded without thinking. Don't accuse me of bullying you. You don't have any teammates, so to ensure fairness, I'll lend you my teammates first. This move seems generous, but in fact it is out of concern that the greedy wolf mercenary group will come to the rescue. Naturally, his teammates would not sincerely help Liu Xingchi, and might even cause trouble in the dungeon. No, I'm fine alone. Liu Xingchi refused without hesitation, not because he was worried about others causing trouble, but mainly because he didn't want his experience to be divided up. As soon as the words fell, the already noisy station became like boiling water. Everyone thought that Liu Xingchi was crazy. How could someone break the record by himself by nearly 10 levels? Chapter 28. Even Shen Kuo couldn't help but frown and pulled Liu Xingchi aside. Brother Liu, don't be fooled. Gao Bo is using a knife to kill someone. Brother Shen, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Liu Xingchi looked calm. Seeing that he couldn't persuade Liu Xingchi, Shen Kuo looked at Jiangxiu again and reminded him softly, Miss Jialan, don't you plan to persuade him? That's not necessary. Jiangxiu remained unmoved and shook her head. Crazy, all crazy. Shen Kuo covered his face helplessly and simply ignored it. Brother, you go first. Originally, there was a team in front of Liu Xingchi, and the team leader tactfully retreated behind Liu Xingchi when he saw this. Now everyone's eyes are focused here, and he dare not spoil everyone's fun. Liu Xingchi did not refuse. He thanked him and walked forward, putting his hand into the vortex of the copy. Instance, Burial Ground Recommended Level, Level 2025 Instance Difficulty, Normal, Difficult Note, Professionals above Level 25 cannot enter the dungeon. Different from the Academy Novice copy, for safety reasons, restrictions are placed on challenges above one's level. The outdoor dungeon is limited to downgrade challenges. If the dungeon level is higher than the recommended level, you can't even enter the dungeon door. Your current level is low, please confirm whether to open the difficult level copy. Confirm. Without any hesitation, Liu Xingchi clicked to confirm. There was a flash of blue light and he disappeared from the spot. Normal level copy, emits white light when teleporting. The blue light will only be emitted if you choose a difficult level copy. Many people noticed this and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Am I seeing things? It seems to be a blue light. Oh no, it seems he chose the wrong difficulty. It's over. I'm definitely going to die. Everyone thought that Liu Xingchi accidentally made the wrong choice and couldn't help but shout out loud. Little did he know that Liu Xingchi had made the wrong choice. He chose the difficult level. This is because the Boneyard does not have a nightmare level difficulty, otherwise he would definitely choose a higher difficulty. Didn't I already remind him? How could he still make the wrong choice? Shen Kuo looked very disappointed. Gao Bo, Wang Tianyu and others revealed ambiguous smiles. There is a huge difference in difficulty between difficult level copies and normal level copies. Even if Gao Bo led the team, it would still take a long time to prepare. This kid actually went in alone, and he would definitely never come back. Jiangxiu was the only one in the audience who looked extremely calm. She knew that Liu Xingchi had not chosen the wrong difficulty level of the dungeon, and she had no doubt that he could easily clear the difficult level of the Bone Burial Ground. Liu Xingchi's eyes went dark, and when his vision returned, he had already arrived in the copy. The Boneyard is an ancient underground tomb, and a gloomy and terrifying atmosphere shrouds the entire instance. The interior of the tomb was covered with cobwebs and thick dust, and ancient charms still remained on the sarcophagi on the wall. The dim light casts mottled shadows through the stone pillars, giving people a mysterious and eerie feeling. The air was filled with the unpleasant smell of blood and rotting flesh, which made Liu Xingchi couldn't help but pinch his nose. As expected of a wild dungeon, it is much more dangerous than a college dungeon. Before actually seeing the monster, Liu Xingchi realized that the burial ground was unusual. Compared with this, the copy in the academy is like playing house. There is a world of difference between the two. Looking around, I found that the surrounding area was full of dead graves, and the dry and cracked ground constantly emitted a cold air. Liu Xingchi did not act rashly, but took the lead in summoning the mechanical hound. A total of 150 mechanical hounds surrounded Liu Xingchi and protected him in the center. With so many mechanical hounds, Liu Xingchi felt more confident and took the first step. Not long after they walked out, something unusual happened in the front of the mechanical hound Fang Zheng. Click! A rotten ghost hand covered with maggots suddenly stretched out from the ground and grabbed the mechanical hound's hind leg. The sharp ghost claws rubbed violently against the steel skin, making a harsh noise. The ghost hand had incredible strength, and with a sudden tug, it dragged half of the mechanical hound's leg into the ground. Liu Xingchi was also shocked and secretly thanked God that he did not play as a forward. What if the ghost hand caught him instead of the mechanical hound? Even if his life wasn't in danger, he would be sickened to death. After the mechanical hound reacted, it began to resist violently. The front legs gripped the ground tightly, and with sudden force, it dragged out the ghost hand that had shrunk into the ground. The power gap between the two was simply too big, and the success just now was just a surprise attack. Seeing that it was unable to pull the mechanical hound, the ghost hand chose to let go and was about to retract. But the nearby mechanical hound gave no chance at all, opened its bloody mouth and bit towards the ghost hand. Just like pulling out carrots, all the monsters buried underground were pulled out. It was a rotting and smelly corpse with blackened skin, cracks all over its body, and emitting a disgusting stench. Liu Xingchi immediately opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the information of the ugly monster in front of him. Corrupted Ghoul, Normal Monster, Level, 20 Strength, 4500 Intelligence, 1200 Agility, 4200 Physique, 4500 Skill. Corruption bite monsters in difficult dungeons are stronger than monsters in the wild. However, the corrupted ghouls had no advantage over the mechanical hounds. Not to mention the overwhelming attributes in all aspects, the only skill, corruption bite, is almost useless. Not to mention whether the corrupt corpse ghost can break through the defense. Even if it can, the corrupt toxin cannot work on mechanical creations. Mechanical creations are inherently immune to poisonous properties, and no poison can cause harm to them. Ouch! The moment the corrupt corpse was dragged out, it opened its mouth and bit the nearest mechanical hound. Suddenly, a funny scene happened. The fangs of the decayed corpse were actually broken. As an undead monster, the corrupt corpse is quite intelligent, and its empty eyes are full of fear. Not giving it a chance to escape, the mechanical hounds in the front rushed forward. The steel claws can easily penetrate the skin, and the steel teeth can even crush bones in an instant. In just a few seconds, the corrupt corpse was torn into pieces and died a very miserable death. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 4500 experience points. Kill the corrupted ghoul and obtain the corrupted fang. Looking at the experience bar that obviously jumped, Liu Xingchi's mouth curled up slightly. The experience points of monsters in difficult dungeons are nearly twice as high as those of monsters in the wild. The experience value has now reached 97%, and it is only a stone's throw away from level 12. After confirming the strength of the monster, Liu Xingchi became bolder. 10 mechanical hounds were left to guard nearby, while the rest were spread out in all directions, conducting a carpet search for the monster. Chapter 29. The mechanism of the Boneyard Dungeon is that only by passing by can you trigger the monster to actively attack, otherwise it will remain hidden. The only way to defeat martial arts in the world is to be faster. When the mechanical hounds ran at full speed, the corrupt corpses couldn't catch their legs at all. He could only slowly crawl out of the dry grave, and was then fiercely besieged by mechanical hounds. Liu Xingchi made a rough calculation. It takes about 5 seconds to kill a corrupt zombie. However, compared to the time spent searching for monsters, the time spent killing corrupt zombies is almost negligible. More than 100 mechanical hounds were like a well-trained army, charging forward without any hindrance. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 4500 experience points. Kill the corrupted ghoul and obtain the corrupted fang. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 4500 experience points. Messages kept popping up. Not long after, Liu Xingchi successfully reached level 12th. The personal attribute interface pops up automatically. Name, Liu Xingchi. Occupation, Mechanical Commander, only 1, level, 12 Strength, 650 plus 300 Intelligence, 650 plus 300 Agility, 650 plus 300 Physique, 650 plus 300. As the level increases, the growth attribute increases. Liu Xingchi remembered that when he upgraded from level 1 to level 2, his attributes were improved by about 10 points. Now, with each level up, the improved attribute reaches about 100, which is about 10 times the improvement. The growth attributes will gradually increase with the level, and the gap will become larger and larger. However, compared with the skyrocketing experience bar, the improvement in growth attributes is nothing. It's getting harder and harder to upgrade. Liu Xingchi looked at the experience bar that was getting longer and sighed deeply. His current level is just barely catching up with the average level, and he is still a long way from being a true elite. For example, the legendary professional Gao Bo, he has currently reached an astonishing level of 18. Liu Xingchi fell behind by 20 days. It would be extremely difficult for him to catch up with such an elite. There are still 6 days left. We must hurry up. A sense of urgency arose in his heart, and Liu Xingchi subconsciously quickened his pace. The underground tombs have complicated passages and there is a risk of getting lost if you are not careful. Fortunately, Liu Xingchi had enough mechanical hounds, so he didn't need to risk exploring himself. While exploring, all the monsters hiding in the dark were attracted out without any exception. The experience bar was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye, reaching 30% in less than an hour. I have to say, the Boneyard is truly a holy place for upgrading. No wonder there are so many people queuing up. It took about another half an hour for the mechanical hound to find the only passage leading to the main tomb chamber. The barrier of the passage leading to the main tomb chamber has been lifted, which means that the exploration level has reached 60%. However, Liu Xingchi did not rush to the main tomb chamber, but chose to explore all the passages. After all, it was still early, and Gao Bo broke the ordinary level record of the boneyard in more than 6 hours. For a difficult level bone burial ground, the dungeon record must be much longer than 6 hours. And now he has only spent less than 2 hours, so there is still plenty of time and no need to be so anxious. We finally made it to the boneyard, and we must not let any corrupt corpse go. It took about 2.5 hours in total, and every corner of the burial ground was cleared. Liu Xingchi's experience bar rose to 66%. After making sure there were no monsters, he walked towards the main tomb chamber. To reach the main tomb chamber, one must pass through a dark corridor with pale ghost lights floating around. With the faint light of the fire, Liu Xingchi could see that there were sarcophagi hanging around the corridor. There are mottled runes on the ancient sarcophagus, and the air is filled with a strange atmosphere. In such a gloomy and terrifying atmosphere, those who are timid would probably be scared to pee their pants. Liu Xingchi felt like he was strolling in the back garden. The mechanical army gave him a complete sense of security. Swish! Halfway through the journey, the ghost fire floating in the air suddenly trembled. The pale flame slowly turned into a strange dark green color. Buzz buzz buzz! The ancient sarcophagus near Liu Xingchi began to vibrate violently. The coffin lid suddenly fell off, revealing the evil spirit hidden in the coffin. Poisonous Ghoul, Elite Monster, Level, 20 Strength, 1000 Intelligence, 6000 Agility, 2100 Physique, 2100 Skill, Poison Mist Spray. The Poisonous Ghoul has a green body, its skin is covered with poisonous spots, and its eyes flash with an evil green light. Especially the belly is bulging so high that it looks like it will explode at any moment. As an elite monster, the toxic ghoul has less attributes than the corrupted ghoul in most aspects, except for its intelligence attribute, which is ridiculously high. It can be seen that the poisonous mist it spews out does not cause physical damage, but elemental damage. Bang, bang, bang! Liu Xingchi reacted extremely quickly, raised the blade runner in his hand and pulled the trigger frantically. More than 100 mechanical hounds were not idle either, and rushed towards the nearby poisonous zombies. Before the poisonous corpse could actively spray out poisonous mist, the explosive bomb would take its life instantly. The remaining several poisonous zombies could not escape the encirclement of the mechanical hounds and had their necks bitten off in the blink of an eye. However, what Liu Xingchi did not expect was that after killing the poisonous corpse ghost, the poisonous gas in its stomach did not disappear. I watched helplessly as the poisonous corpse's belly grew bigger and bigger, and finally exploded. The dark green poisonous gas spread instantly, and the narrow corridor was filled with poisonous fog. Liu Xingchi held his breath, but found that it didn't help much. Even if this poisonous fog does not pass through the respiratory tract, it can poison people just by contacting the skin. Crash! I saw that Liu Xingchi's health was slowly decreasing at a rate of 1% per second. The damage caused by this poisonous fog is truly terrifying. If it weren't for the quantum link talent, the damage would have been shared by 150 mechanical hounds. I'm afraid Liu Xingchi was poisoned to death in an instant. Mechanical hounds are completely immune to poison, and the damage sharing does not cause any damage to them. Seeing this, Liu Xingchi quickly took out 2 bottles of medicine from his backpack. A bottle of life recovery potion and a bottle of detoxification potion. This was the potion he had prepared before heading into the wilderness, and he didn't expect it would actually come in handy. Gurgle. Without saying a word, he drank 2 bottles of antidote. The antidote does have some effect, temporarily slowing down the rate at which blood volume decreases, but it cannot completely detoxify. After all, he was within the range of the poisonous fog and was in a state of continuous poisoning. Liu Xingchi held his breath and then ran quickly towards the end of the corridor. Wherever he passed, stone pavilions opened one after another. The poisonous corpse ghost spewed out poisonous mist and pounced towards Liu Xingchi. Chapter 30. In order to conserve his physical strength, Liu Xingchi ignored the sneak attack from the poisonous corpse ghost. He had 100% confidence in the mechanical hound and was certain that no poisonous zombie could ever reach him. The mechanical army did not disappoint him. The mechanical hounds tore all the poisonous zombies along the way into pieces. Kill the poisonous corpse and gain 20,000 experience points. Kill the poisonous corpse and gain 20,000 experience points. Massive amounts of experience continued to pour in, and Liu Xingchi's experience bar skyrocketed at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, he was not in the mood to pay attention to these things. He ran towards the end of the corridor with a determined look. After more than a minute, Liu Xingchi finally passed the poisonous corridor and arrived at the final main tomb chamber. Huff, huff, huff. Liu Xingchi breathed in big gulps of fresh air, and the poison in his body was quickly dissipating. Finally, there was no danger. Liu Xingchi drank another bottle of life-restoring potion, and his health slowly recovered. I took a look at the experience bar and it had reached 88%, which meant I was not far from reaching level 13. Without rushing to challenge the final lord, Liu Xingchi sat on the ground and began to meditate. Ever since he awakened his career as a mechanical commander, everything has been going very smoothly for him. The highly toxic passage just now can be said to be one of the few challenges. Although it was not that dangerous, it still caused him some trouble. There is no doubt that the mechanical hound is powerful, but that does not mean that Liu Xingchi himself is invincible. The one with extraordinary attributes is his summoned creature, while Liu Xingchi's own attributes are still within the normal range. Once he encounters an irresistible skill, such as the poisonous fog just now, even he will have to think twice. If the poisonous passage were several times longer, he might have died here. As a profession with no weaknesses, the mechanical commander should also have defensive skills in the future. I just don't know how long I have to wait, so it would be necessary to form a supporting profession before that. Potions are still allowed in difficult dungeons, but potions cannot be used in nightmare-level dungeons and above. Even the basic profession priest has the purification skill, which can instantly remove negative status. Jialangxiu's profession is an oracle priest, and she has the skill of purifying the field, which greatly increases the survival rate of teammates. No wonder priests are the most popular profession. High-difficulty dungeons would be impossible without them. Liu Xingchi slowly opened his eyes, and his health and spirit values returned to their peak state. Slowly standing up, Liu Xingchi looked around and finally set his sights on the huge sarcophagus in the center of the main tomb chamber. This black sarcophagus is incredibly large, with a length of nearly 5 meters, which shows that there is a big guy lying inside. Could this guy also be able to spray poison? Liu Xingchi already had a shadow in his heart and was reluctant to approach. The poison mist of elite monsters is so terrible. If the Lord also sprays poison, the continuous damage will be unbearable. He glanced back at the passage behind him and found that the dark green poisonous gas had dissipated. Liu Xingchi hid directly in the corridor and let the mechanical hound go and kill the Lord. It's a bit of a compromise, but there's nothing we can do about it. After all, he has no defensive skills now, so he still needs to be careful about everything. Superior. After everything was ready, Liu Xingchi gave the order. More than 100 mechanical hounds rushed towards the huge sarcophagus without fear. Before he could get close, the huge sarcophagus shook violently and the lid exploded. A skeletal ghost hand stretched out from the coffin, which was more than 3 times larger than a normal human palm. Bone. When Liu Xingchi saw that what was sticking out was a skeleton, he suddenly relaxed a lot. It seems that he was worrying too much. The Lord of the Burial Ground does not spray poison. The moment the Eye of Truth saw the skeleton hand, an information screen appeared simultaneously: Skeleton Ghost General Level, 20 Strength, 8500 Intelligence, 8200 Agility, 7100 Physique, 9400 Skills, Heavy Slash, Nether Ghost Fire, Immortal Protection. The attributes of the Skeleton Ghost General are very balanced, with no obvious weaknesses. The skills are also extremely powerful, especially the 2 skills of Nether Ghost Fire and Immortal Protection. The Ghostly Will-o'-the-Wisp can cause mental damage, and can be said to be the nemesis of knights who stack physical attributes. The Immortal Protection is even more troublesome. After the health value is reduced to 30%, the defense power is doubled. However, this is only true for ordinary teams. Liu Xingchi's mechanical army can completely restrain the skeleton ghost generals. The mechanical hound is completely immune to mental damage, and the mechanical detonation damage is astonishing, so the skeleton ghost has no chance of triggering the immortal guardian at all. A bone meets a dog, this is Bo Tianqi. Liu Xingchi activated the static stealth skill and walked out of the dark corridor. Since the skeleton ghost general has no skills that can cause large-scale damage, there is naturally nothing to be afraid of. After a while, the skeleton ghost will crawl out of the coffin. It was wearing black armor, holding a giant bone sword that was flickering with a faint light, and there was a burning blood-red flame in its empty eye sockets. With a height of nearly 5 meters, the skeleton ghost general looks very intimidating. It's a pity that the mechanical hound didn't know what fear was and rushed towards it without fear. More than 100 mechanical hounds launched an attack together, and the scene was extremely horrifying. The steel claws fell on the skeleton ghost general like a rainstorm, causing heavy damage. Some of the mechanical hounds seemed to have awakened their nature and kept biting the ribs tightly and refused to let go. A tall skeleton warrior with mechanical hounds hanging all over his body. The terrifying weight made it difficult for him to move, and he couldn't even do a simple sword swing. Occasionally, it would scratch it with its sword, but that little bit of damage could not do anything to the mechanical hound. The skeleton ghost general's health bar is decreasing at an incredible speed. Roar! An angry roar was heard, and faint ghost fire appeared on the skeleton ghost's body. The ghost fire of the underworld has no temperature and can burn the soul. This is the skeleton ghost general's ultimate killer move. Countless teams have fallen under the ghost fire. Unfortunately, this trick is completely useless against the mechanical hound, which is a soulless killing machine. Xingchi stared at the rapidly declining health of the skeleton ghost general, and when it was almost approaching 30%, he recovered most of the mechanical hounds. Only 2 mechanical hounds were left. Bang! With a light snap of his fingers, the 2 mechanical hounds exploded at the same time. The flames of the explosion were so bright that they illuminated the dark tomb like daylight. A strong light flashed by, and the skeleton ghost disappeared. The terrifying explosive power detonated by the machine prevented the skeleton ghost from using his last skill. Kill the skeleton ghost general and gain 60,000 experience points. Kill the skeleton ghost general and obtain the rare jewelry, Skeleton King Ring. Congratulations on your level up, current level is LV13. I leveled up twice in one go. The dungeon leveling is still fast. Xingchi's eyes were full of smiles, and he was glad that he came to the right place. Then, another reminder sounded. Congratulations on breaking the Boneyard dungeon record. All rewards for this level will be doubled. Chapter 31. Without any surprise, Xing knew sooner or later that he would be able to break the copy record. Even after the reward was doubled, he still failed to break through to level 14. But it's normal when you think about it, the experience bar at level 14 has increased a lot. After checking, Xingchi found that the current experience value reached 52%. Just as I was about to take a look at the spoils, another eye-catching system message came. Congratulations on breaking the Boneyard Dungeon record. Instance difficulty, difficult level new record, 3 hours 12 minutes 7 seconds. Notice, Boneyard, the conditions for the hidden upgrade of the dungeon have been met, unlocking the nightmare level difficulty. The copy has been upgraded. Xingchi was also startled by the system notification. I didn't expect that by just playing a copy, the Boneyard copy would be upgraded. We learned in high school that copies can be upgraded. However, the upgrade tasks for each copy are different, and they are also hidden tasks. Until the upgrade is complete, no one knows what the specific upgrade tasks are. Some copies were upgraded by accident, and this situation does exist. Xingchi thought about it roughly and thought that the upgrade task of the Boneyard Dungeon was probably related to the exploration degree and clearance record. Only by breaking the dungeon record and maintaining a very high level of exploration can you unlock the nightmare level difficulty. It can be seen that the difficulty of upgrading the Boneyard Dungeon is not low, otherwise no one would have unlocked the nightmare level for so long. With the advent of nightmare level difficulty, the recommended level of dungeons has also changed. From the original level 20 to 25, it has become the current level 20 to 30. This is 5 levels more, which shows how difficult the nightmare level burial ground is. This is a good thing. This way the upgrade speed can be accelerated. Xingchi raised the corners of his mouth slightly and muttered to himself. After closing the notification screen, Xingchi reopened the backpack inventory. Just now a rare piece of equipment was revealed, the Skeleton King Ring. The reward for breaking the record was doubled, so there were now 2 Skeleton King Rings. Skeleton King Ring quality, blue type, ring attributes, all attributes plus 200 level 20 effect, when attacking a Lord monster, damage plus 30%. The attribute bonus may seem ordinary, but the effect is extremely powerful. A 30% bonus to Lord damage is a huge improvement for any output type profession. It's worthy of being one of the best level 20 rings. The effect is really powerful. As he spoke, Xingchi took out the ring from his backpack. This is a bone-white ring with a band made up of 6 bones. The bones are carved with intricate skull patterns, making them look mysterious and eerie. The top of the Skeleton King Ring is the front skull of a large skull. The eye sockets of the skull emit a blood-red fluorescence, like 2 eerie candle flames. Xingchi tried to wear the Skeleton King Ring, but there was an invisible resistance that prevented him from wearing it successfully. The minimum wearing level of the Skeleton King ring is level 20. Liu Xingchi is only level 13 now, so naturally he cannot use it. It's a pity that I can't use it. I can only use it when I reach level 20. Liu Xingchi sighed and threw the Skeleton King ring into his backpack. Thinking that there were 2 in total and the extra one could be auctioned, he opened the online trading house again. He was not in a hurry to sell it because he didn't know what the current market price of the Skeleton King ring was. But after searching for a long time and almost turning the level 20 ring trading column to pieces, I still couldn't find a Skeleton King ring. What's going on? Why isn't there a Skeleton King ring? Liu Xingchi scratched his head, not knowing what to do with the extra rings. What he didn't know was that top-grade equipment like the Skeleton King ring would mostly not circulate on the market. When ordinary people come across such top-quality equipment, they usually use it themselves and would not sell it easily. Another important reason is that online trading houses have price limit rules. For level 20 items, the maximum selling price cannot exceed 1 million, otherwise they cannot be put on the market for trading. Most item transactions are within this range and there are no problems. But for truly top-grade equipment, 1 million is far from enough. Without a price reference, Liu Xingchi did not make a move rashly. Shen Kuo should know the approximate price, why not sell it to him? After closing the trading interface, Liu Xing slowly walked towards the copy exit. The vortex in the Boneyard dungeon suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light. The light emitted this time was much stronger than the previous golden light. At the same time, everyone within a 10-mile radius around the copy vortex received a conspicuous message at the same time. Congratulations to Liu Xingchi, Captain, for breaking the Boneyard dungeon record. Instance difficulty, difficult level new record, 3 hours 12 minutes 7 seconds notice, Boneyard, the hidden upgrade mission of the dungeon has been completed, unlocking the nightmare level difficulty Boneyard dungeon, recommended level adjusted to level 2030 for a moment, the originally noisy dungeon station became silent. Everyone wondered if there was something wrong with their eyes and rubbed their eyes vigorously. After a brief silence, deafening cheers broke out. Oh my god! He actually did it! I remember the original record was more than 7 hours. He shortened it by more than half. Is this really something a human can do? How on earth did he do it? No wonder he was so calm before, it turns out he can really surpass his level and clear the level alone, it's amazing. Everyone was generous in their praise, their eyes full of admiration and respect. After all, copy upgrade is a great thing for everyone. As the copy is upgraded, its capacity will be greatly increased, and it can accommodate more teams to challenge the copy at the same time. This is undoubtedly a huge improvement in basic resources. Not only that, for low-level professionals, after the copy is upgraded, the entry-level span increases, which can greatly reduce the difficulty of passing difficult-level copies. For high-level professionals, the emergence of nightmare-level dungeons gives them more choices. You know, in the entire First Wilderness Isolation Zone, there are only a handful of level 20 nightmare dungeons. How is it possible? Gao Bo looked at the system screen in front of him, completely stunned. When he thought of the arrogant words he had said to Liu Xingchi before, his face felt burning. He just couldn't figure out how a mere level 11 rookie could pass the difficult level of the Bone Burial Ground. Wang Tianyu, who was standing aside, looked even more incredulous. If breaking the record in the academy before was just luck, this time it was a result of real strength. He was very clear about the difficulty of the Boneyard dungeon. Even if you challenge the normal difficulty, there is a risk of death if you are not careful, let alone the difficult level. Chapter 32. Let's go. Even though he was unwilling, Gao Bo had no choice but to leave. He has always been arrogant and proud, so how could he afford to lose face like this? The rest of the teammates immediately followed and left the dungeon site quietly. Wang Tianyu followed happily, but was ignored by Gao Bo. He was also afraid that Liu Xingchi would cause trouble for him, so he didn't dare to stay near the Bone Burial Ground copy for long and could only escape in disgrace. Not long after, Liu Xingchi walked out of the copy vortex. Faced with everyone's enthusiasm, Liu Xingchi just smiled and nodded. Shen Kuo was the first to rush up, his expression extremely excited. Brother Liu, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have doubted you, from now on, you are my god. It's okay, you're thinking about me too. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head, looked around and found that Gao Bo and others had already left. These guys know how to examine the degree. Jialangxiu did not come closer, but just stood not far away, staring at Liu Xingchi blankly, not knowing what she was thinking. Brother Lu, the greedy wolf mercenary group space is nearby, why don't you go over and have a seat? Shen Kuo took the initiative to invite. Then I'll trouble you, Brother Shen. Seeing that night was about to fall, Lu Xingchi did not refuse. Living in the greedy wolf mercenary group space is definitely better than sleeping in the open air and having to be constantly on guard against sneak attacks from monsters. I slept on a rock slab bed last night and my back still hurts a little. Miss Jilan, if you don't mind, you can go with us. Shen Kuo invited Jiangxiu again. As someone who has been through this, Shen Kuo could see that the relationship between the two was unusual. However, there was also an inexplicable sense of strangeness, and he wanted to help the two resolve some misunderstandings. Good. Jiangxiu nodded and agreed readily. The two followed Shen Kuo and came to the base of the greedy wolf mercenary group. I'm sorry, there is only one vacant room left in the base. Please make do with that. Shen Kuo took the two men to an empty room and explained softly. It's pretty good. It's much better than sleeping outside in the open. Lu Xingchi looked at the relatively tidy room, smiled and waved his hand. That's good. I was afraid that I might neglect my distinguished guest. Shen Kuo breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Jiangxiu who was standing beside him. Miss Jilan, I wonder if you... It's okay, I'm not that pretentious. Jiangxiu nodded. Perhaps because Lu Xingchi had dumped her before, Jiangxiu was not on guard against Lu Xingchi at all. It's getting late, so I won't disturb you two from resting. Shen Kuo smiled slightly and prepared to push the door and leave. Before he could leave, Lu Xingchi called him, Brother Shen, wait a minute. Brother Lu, is there anything else? Lu Xingchi spread out his palm and took out the Skeleton King ring. I wonder if Captain Shen is interested in this item. Could this be the Skeleton King ring? Shen Kuo took 2 steps at a time and came closer to observe. He was so excited that he could hardly speak clearly. The Skeleton King ring is one of the strongest level 20 rings, and it can only be obtained with a very small chance after clearing the difficult level of the Boneyard. It is the Skeleton King ring. If you need it, I can sell it to you. Lu Xingchi nodded and thought for a moment, as for the price. You decide it. Are you really determined to sell this kind of treasure to me? This kind of top-grade equipment is a rare commodity that is in short supply and cannot be purchased with money. Lu Xingchi nodded and said loudly, to be honest, I got 2 Skeleton King rings in total. This one is to thank you for taking us in. If you break the dungeon record, the reward will be doubled. I forgot about this. Shen Kuo smiled and touched his nose, then held up 3 fingers, if you agree, I'm willing to offer 3 million gold coins. Make a deal. Without much hesitation, Lu Xingchi agreed decisively. 3 million was already far beyond his expectations, and he also earned a favor by selling it to Shen Kuo. It can be said to be a win-win deal. Shen Kuo was also extremely happy and quickly transferred 3 million gold coins to Lu Xingchi. As soon as he got it, he took off his original ring and put the Skeleton King ring on his hand. When he waved his arm, the ghost fire on the Skeleton King's ring drew a long stream of blood-red light. It's really top-grade equipment, so cool. It can be seen that Shen Kuo is extremely happy, and he is admiring the ring on his finger with an intoxicated look on his face. Without staying long, Shen Kuo, along with his younger brothers, pushed the door and left the room. Soon after leaving, a younger brother couldn't help asking, Captain, there are still many empty rooms in our base, why are you? I call this helping others achieve their goals, what do you know, little brat? Shen Kuo glanced at his younger brother, and then said seriously, keep your mouth shut, we will only have 1 room left in our base from now on. Yes. The younger brothers nodded heavily. After the group left, the room fell into a brief silence. This was Lu Xingchi's first time to be in the same room with a member of the opposite S*X, and he was a little uncomfortable at first. Jiangxiu was the same. She was so shy that her snow-white neck began to turn slightly red. He had always been brought up strictly, and he rarely talked to the opposite S*X. Ahem. Lu Xingchi was the first to break the silence, you sleep on the bed tonight, and I'll sleep on the floor. Compared to the hard stone bed, the wooden floor is already very comfortable, so Lu Xingchi naturally wouldn't dislike it. That's impossible. You are my savior. How can I let you sleep on the floor? Jiangxiu shook her head. What savior? Don't be so serious. I will save whoever is caught. You don't have to take it to heart. Liu Xingchi scratched his neck and didn't take the matter to heart at all. When he was sweeping away the remnants of the Abyss Church, he was completely unaware that Jiangxiu had been captured. Everything is just going with the flow, and I never feel that I have made any great contribution. Whether it was intentional or not, the fact is that you saved me. Jiangxiu looked sincere, bent down respectfully, and said in a serious tone, "Thank you." Liu Xingchen was a little overwhelmed and hurriedly helped Jiangxiu up. "You chased me so far just to thank me in person?" Jiangxiu nodded slightly, thought for a moment before speaking, "In addition to thanking you in person, I actually have some selfish motives." "Oh." Liu Xingqi's eyes lit up, and he quickly asked, "Can you tell me about it?" "I want to ask, am I that scary? Why do you keep hiding from me?" Jiangxiu's eyes were sharp and serious. "Miss Jialan has a celestial beauty, how can she be scary?" Liu Xingqi smiled awkwardly, was silent for a while, and explained, "Actually, I also have my own difficulties. You must be wondering why my level is so low. I've always wanted to ask, you are so strong, why is your level so low?" Jiangxiu looked puzzled. Chapter 33. This is a long story. Liu Xingqi did not hide anything and told everyone about the awakening mission. Everyone in the school knows about this, it's not a secret that can't be told. "I see. So it only took you 3 days to reach level 13. Jiangxiu opened her eyes wide, obviously frightened by Liu Xingqi's words. This rocket-like upgrade speed is really exaggerated. Although she was captured by the Abyss Church for a long time, her level has stagnated. But it took him more than 10 days to reach level 13. This is even with the bonus of talent, which shows how terrifying Liu Xingqi's upgrade speed is. There's no other way. I have reasons for being admitted to a Huxia University, and I must abandon all possibilities that may affect my upgrade speed." Liu Xingqi's attitude was sincere. "If there was no pressure to upgrade, would you still be hiding from me?" Jiangxiu's eyes were extremely clear and she asked proactively. "Of course not." Liu Xingchen said firmly. After getting the exact answer, Jiangxiu smiled, her eyes and eyebrows were like a crescent moon. "Then can I ask you a question?" Liu Xingqi stroked his chin and murmured. "Sure. How did you recognize me at first sight? You obviously have never seen me before." Liu Xingqi asked out the doubts buried in his heart. The Boneyard Dungeon Station is packed with people of all kinds. There were at least 1,000 people gathered, but Jiangxiu was able to lock onto him in the vast crowd. Even if you use the Eye of Truth, you can check the levels one by one. That would take a lot of time and it would be impossible to find it so quickly. "Because I remember your eyes. Your eyes are exactly the same as the little dog who saved me." Jiangxiu smiled and answered without hesitation. "Little dog." Liu Xingqi covered his face helplessly. "I didn't expect that the ferocious and powerful mechanical hound would be called puppy. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant." Jiangxiu seemed to realize that she had said the wrong thing and quickly waved her hands to explain. That mechanical hound was controlled by Liu Xingqi and represented him, so it should not be called that. Looking at Jiangxiu dancing and explaining hurriedly, Liu Xingqi couldn't help but smile. The first impression of Jiangxiu is that of a noble white swan, but I didn't expect that she has such a lovely side. "Would you like to be my teammate?" Liu Xingqi suddenly invited. "Ah!" Jiangxiu was stunned and didn't come back to her senses for a long time. Liu Xingqi smiled slightly and said softly, "If you don't want to, don't force it." "Willing." Jiangxiu nodded heavily, looking extremely serious, "As long as you don't dislike me, I'm willing to be your teammate." Needless to say, Liu Xingqi sent a team invitation to Jiangxiu. Jiangxiu naturally agreed immediately, and she was no longer the only one on the team list. After becoming a teammate, you can view the detailed information of your teammates. Unlike the True Eye, which can only view levels and attributes, detailed information such as equipment and skill levels cannot be seen. Liu Xingqi clicked on Jiangxiu's personal attribute page: name, Jiangxiu occupation, Oracle Priest level, 13, 52%, strength, 385 plus 100 intelligence, 1150 plus 1120 agility, 385 plus 360 physique, 770 plus 700. Different from the balanced development of the summoner profession, the growth attributes of the priest profession are mainly intelligence and supplemented by physique. What a coincidence! It's exactly the same as my experience bar progress. Liu Xingchi looked at Jiangxiu's experience bar and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Sometimes it is such a coincidence that people have to believe in the so-called fate. Captain, why is your equipment bar empty? Jiangxiu looked at the empty equipment bar and couldn't help but ask. Liu Xingchi smiled slightly and said calmly, I want to save more money and buy a better one after reaching level 15. You are too frugal. Don't forget that you have millions of gold coins now. Jiangxiu was a little confused, and seemed to remember something. But with your strength, it seems that it doesn't matter whether you wear equipment or not. Hey, why are you carrying a level 15 weapon? Do you have a transcendence badge? After a while, Jiangxiu found something wrong. Liu Xingchi's weapon was actually a level 15 Blade Runner. Without waiting for Liu Xingchi to answer, Jiangxiu noticed that the weapon column was locked. No. Soul-bound, this is your life weapon. That's right, Blade Runner is a replica of my lifelong weapon, the Ruleless Cube, so it is not restricted by level. As he spoke, Liu Xingchi summoned out the Blade Runner and initialized it. In front of Jiangxiu, Liu Xingchi quickly deduced the magic without rules and became a Blade Runner. Now that they have become teammates, Liu Xingchi naturally has nothing to hide. Besides, the hidden special effects of the Rubik's Cube cannot be viewed even by teammates, so there is no need to hide it. Wow, this is amazing. My eyes are dazzled. How did you do that? Jiangxiu's eyes were full of admiration and she couldn't help but applaud. Liu Xingchi waved his hand, it's nothing special, practice makes perfect. This is not something that can be accomplished by practice. Jiangxiu curled her lips, it's only you. If I get the Rubik's Cube, I'm afraid you'll be so angry that you'll cry. So God is still fair. He will not let people awaken unsuitable professions. Liu Xingchi smiled slightly and said loudly. If Liu Xingchi awakened the Oracle Priest, he would probably be so angry that he would cry. It's not that the legendary profession of Oracle Priest is bad, but Liu Xingchi can't stand the feeling of hiding behind his teammates and entrusting his own destiny to the hands of others. Liu Xingchi seemed to remember something and asked curiously, by the way, you seem to have mentioned the Beyond Badge just now, what is that? I also happened to hear my elders mention that the Beyond Badge allows people to wear equipment at a higher level, but I don't know how to obtain it. Jiangxiu thought about it carefully and shook her head gently. Beyond Badges is knowledge that can only be learned in college, so it is normal for two high school students not to know it. Before they knew it, the relationship between the two gradually became familiar, as if they were good friends who had known each other for many years. It's getting late. Go to bed early. You have to get up early tomorrow. Liu Xingchi took a pillow from the bed, put it on the ground and prepared to sleep. After a tiring day, Liu Xingchi was exhausted both physically and mentally. As soon as he touched the pillow, he felt a deep sleepiness coming over him and soon fell into a dream. Are you really going to sleep on the floor? Jiangxiu gently pushed Liu Xingchi on the back, but the only response she got was a slight cry. Seeing this, Jiangxiu sighed helplessly and reached out to turn off the desk lamp beside her. The temperature difference between day and night in the wilderness is huge in summer. It is extremely hot during the day and cool at night. She was seen lying on her side on the edge of the bed, using the blanket to cover Liu Xingchi underneath as much as possible. Chapter 34. The next day, early morning. A ray of sunlight seeped into the room through the gap in the curtains and fell on Liu Xingchi's face. The warm yellow light illuminated his handsome face, and his eyelashes cast long shadows in the sun. Liu Xingchi slowly opened his eyes. The warm sunlight made him stretch his body involuntarily and let out a comfortable sigh. The sight in front of me gradually became clear, and the first thing that caught my eye was a gentle smiling face. You woke up. Jiangxiu was sitting on the edge of the bed, her chin supported by her hands, staring at Liu Xingchi with a smile. Liu Xingchi was stunned for a moment, then slowly sat up. I looked up at the clock and saw that it was already 8 o'clock. You've been waiting for a long time, why didn't you wake me up? You look very tired. It would be a good thing for you to rest for a while. Jiangxiu smiled slightly and said softly. Captain Shen, he should have gone to the dungeon base, right? Yeah, they left early in the morning. Jiangxiu nodded, stood up and brought over the breakfast that had been prepared. Thanks. Liu Xingchi took the steaming hot breakfast and finished it all in no time. He hadn't had breakfast since entering the wilderness isolation area. Someone prepared a hot breakfast for him early in the morning, and he couldn't help feeling a little warm in his heart. After eating and drinking, the two immediately rushed to the boneyard dungeon base. On the way, Xingchi suddenly asked, "Captain, is there no time limit for your mechanical hound?" "Yes, my passive ability can make the mechanical hound exist permanently." Xingchi nodded, "Why do you suddenly ask this?" "I saw that after waking up, my experience points inexplicably increased by 12%. Xingchi smiled slightly. "No way. Most of the monsters near the dungeon have been cleared out. There are really not many of them." Xingchi shook his head helplessly, obviously not satisfied with the increase in experience points. "This is already a lot, and you still complain about it." Xingchi's face was full of disbelief. It was the first time she had seen someone kill monsters and level up in their sleep. To her, this was just like free experience points. She was so happy that she couldn't wait to feel it was too little. As they were talking, the two of them arrived at the copy station. Looking at the line that stretched to the periphery, Xingchi and Xingchi couldn't help but look at each other. Compared to yesterday, the burial site became more lively and the number of people queuing doubled. There are two reasons for this grand occasion. One is that the news of the demise of the remnants of the Abyss Church has spread, and many candidates seeking refuge have flocked to the wilderness. The second reason is that the Boneyard had just unlocked the Nightmare level, and many well-informed teams rushed to challenge it. When you clear a new dungeon for the first time, there is a 100% chance that rare equipment will drop. In a Nightmare level dungeon, you can even get a rare title. There's nothing we can do but queue up. Xingchi sighed helplessly and walked to the end of the team. Fortunately, the Boneyard's carrying capacity has been greatly increased, allowing more teams to challenge it at the same time. In less than an hour, the two of them were already in the middle of the queue. Damn it! Zhang Heng has no moral principles at all. He makes me so mad. Suddenly, a familiar curse was heard not far away, and Xingchi looked over in the direction of the voice. I saw Shen Kuo walking towards me, and the members of the group following him had their heads hung, looking as if they had suffered a great blow. Xingchi waved at him and called out, "Captain Shen." Hearing this, Shen Kuo noticed Xingchi and ran over as if he had seen his savior. "Brother Liu, you must help me vent my anger." "Don't get excited yet, what happened?" Xingchi was confused and asked curiously. The Mad Lion mercenary group actually broke the record for the first clearance of the Nightmare level in the Bone Burial Ground overnight. Shen Kuo frowned and said with gritted teeth. "The Mad Lion mercenary group, are they very powerful?" Xingchi knew nothing about the forces in the wilderness, and it was the first time he had heard of the Mad Lion mercenary group. The Crazy Lion mercenary group is a top mercenary group on par with our Greedy Wolf mercenary group. Normally, we don't interfere with each other, but we never thought that they would cross the line last night and come to seize our territory. Shen Kuo became more and more excited as he spoke, and his whole body was shaking with anger. The burial ground has always been the territory of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group, and they even set up their main camp nearby. But last night, the Mad Lion mercenaries got the news from somewhere and rushed to the bone burial site overnight, achieving a Nightmare level first pass record. If this is the case, the burial ground will most likely become the territory of the Mad Lion mercenary group in the future, and the Greedy Wolf mercenary group will have no right to operate here. Seize the territory? What do you mean? The more Xingchi listened, the more confused he became. It's just a first pass, what does it have to do with territory? Brother Liu, you don't know that according to the rules of the wilderness, the record holder for the highest difficulty of the dungeon will be regarded as his territory. Shen Kuo explained patiently. This is the unspoken rule for all wilderness mercenary groups. Only the copy record holder is qualified to occupy the territory. If the copy record is not broken within a week, it will be regarded as permanent territory and other mercenary groups will not have the right to enter. However, once the copy is upgraded, the record for the highest difficulty will be blank, and other mercenary groups will have the opportunity to compete again. Seeing this point, the Mad Lion mercenary group entered the Boneyard dungeon overnight and set a record for a Nightmare level dungeon. The main source of income for the mercenary group is to help people upgrade, and the burial ground has always been the most important source of economic income for the Greedy Wolf mercenary group. If they lose their important economic pillar, the Greedy Wolf mercenary group will most likely be unable to recover, or even fall out of the ranks of top mercenary groups. So, the difficult level dungeon record I broke before was from your Greedy Wolf mercenary group. Xingchi seemed to understand and asked back. Yes, but it doesn't matter. As long as we can break the Nightmare record again, the burial ground will still be ours. Shen Kuo nodded, and then added, Zhang Heng bullied our leader and left, otherwise he wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. He is only the deputy leader of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group. The real leader recently broke through level 30 and went to the second wilderness isolation area. Only when he successfully breaks through level 30 will he be eligible to be promoted to team leader. This is the inheritance of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group. After Shen Kuo reaches level 30 and becomes the real leader, he will appoint the next deputy leader. Hearing this, Lu Xingchi fell into deep thought. If he hadn't upgraded the Boneyard dungeon, the Mad Lion mercenaries would have had no chance to seize the territory. Sure enough, where there are people, there are rivers and lakes, and the competition in the wilderness isolation zone is far more intense than he had imagined. Brother Shen, why don't we temporarily join your mercenary group? What do you think? Lu Xingchi stroked his chin and said loudly. Shen Kuo's eyes sparkled, and he looked extremely excited. Brother Lu, if you're willing, that would be great. As long as Lu Xingchi is willing to help, with his strength, it is not impossible for him to break the nightmare level record again. Chapter 35. But I like freedom and I'm not used to joining any organization. After leaving the wilderness, I may quit at any time. As the saying goes, it is better to speak out the truth first. Lu Xingchi did not want to join any organization and agreed to help the Greedy Wolf mercenaries only for Shen Kuo's sake. After all, they have helped him a lot, so he can't just stand by and watch. No problem, it's your freedom. Shen Kuo agreed without even thinking about it. As long as Lu Xingchi has joined the Greedy Wolf mercenary group when he breaks the record will always belong to the Greedy Wolf mercenary group. This will not change regardless of whether you withdraw in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Xingchi and Jiulangxu received a system message at the same time. You have received an invitation from the Greedy Wolf mercenary group. Do you agree to join? Agree. The two naturally chose to agree, and then a new interface light screen appeared before their eyes. The list of members of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group, as well as information such as their base, are all at a glance. However, Lu Xingchi had no interest in this and simply closed the interface. He just helped out, there was no need to know too much information. Brother Lu, this is a special strength potion, and a special agility potion. While talking, Shen Kuo took out the precious medicine from his backpack and stuffed it into Lu Xingchi's pocket without hesitation. These precious medicines were extremely expensive, and he normally wouldn't be willing to use them. In order to help Lu Xingchi break the nightmare record of the Bone Burial Ground dungeon, Shen Kuo gave it his all. After a while, Lu Xingchi had a pile of bottles and jars in his arms, containing all kinds of medicines. Lu Xingchi was confused, and it took him a long time to come back to his senses. What are you doing? These special potions can double your strength in a short period of time. You can definitely break the record. Shen Kuo explained with a smile. You don't believe me? Lu Xingchi frowned slightly, feeling a little unhappy. Of course he knew the effects of the special grade potion. It is true that one's strength can increase dramatically in a short period of time, but the side effects are also very exaggerated. Using so many special grade medicines at once would probably take a day or two to recover. This is absolutely unacceptable to Lu Xingchi, his time is very precious. Brother Lu, that's not what I meant. Shen Kuo scratched his head and tried his best to explain, it's just that the record set by the Crazy Lion mercenary group this time is not ordinary, so it's better to be cautious. There's no need to be so troublesome. If you continue like this, I'll quit the group. Lu Xingchi returned all the medicine in his arms to Shen Kuo. Even without Jiulangxu's help, he was confident that he could set a new record, let alone now. I was wrong, please don't quit the group. Shen Kuo admitted defeat instantly and put all the potions into his backpack. How about this? This is a benefit for our Greedy Wolf mercenary group. If you don't want it, I will convert these potions into gold coins and transfer them directly to you. Without waiting for Lu Xingchi to react, Shen Kuo completed the transfer operation. 1 million. Lu Xingchi was also shocked. He didn't expect the prices of these medicines to be so outrageous. Another person who received the transfer was Jiulangxu, who also received 1 million gold coins. It seems that it is not easy for the mercenary group to set a record. It not only requires real strength, but also huge financial support. Ordinary people have almost no chance of competing with such a huge organization. Therefore, most of the wilderness dungeon records were set by these organizations. That's nothing. I heard that the Mad Lion mercenary group spent tens of millions of gold coins to take down the nightmare level bone burial ground. Shen Kuo shook his head and said lightly. Since Lu Xingchi and Jiulangxiu are of lower levels, the levels of the potions they can use are naturally not high. The price of low-level potions is relatively much cheaper, and the Mad Lion mercenaries came well prepared. Not only did he spend tens of millions to purchase a large number of precious potions, he also bought a lot of equipment for the undead. Hiss! Lu Xingchi couldn't help but take a breath. It turned out that poverty limited his imagination. Spending tens of millions for a copy record was really too extravagant. Brother Lu, if you can really help take back the burial ground, on behalf of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group, I can reward you with 10 million gold coins. Shen Kuo looked extremely serious. 10 million gold coins may seem like a lot, but compared to the continued income that the burial ground can bring in the future, it is nothing. Otherwise, the Mad Lion mercenary group would not have spent so much money just to get the record of the Bone Burial Ground dungeon. No matter how you calculate it, this is a good deal. Make a deal. Lu Xingchi suppressed his ecstasy and nodded. Who would complain about having too much money? Anyway, whether he helps the Greedy Wolf mercenaries or not, he is ready to set a new nightmare level record in the Boneyard. After all, breaking records can double the experience points, which is the fastest way for him to level up. These 10 million gold coins were undoubtedly a pleasant surprise for him. Everything is up to you, brother. Shen Kuo patted Lu Xingchi on the shoulder, his eyes full of hope. More than an hour later, Lu Xingchi finally arrived at the entrance of the copy. In an instant, a dazzling golden light flashed, and a team wearing the red lion emblem walked out of the copy vortex. Within a 10-mile radius, everyone received a system message at the same time. Congratulations to the Crazy Lion mercenary group for breaking the Boneyard dungeon record again. Instance, burial ground difficulty, nightmare level new record, 4 hours, 32 minutes and 28 seconds. Once you join any mercenary group, the dungeon record you broke will no longer be displayed as a team, but as the name of the mercenary group you joined. After the Crazy Lion mercenary group achieved the first record, they were still a little worried and made a second attempt. This time the challenge time was shortened by more than an hour, which is an extremely exaggerated result for a nightmare level copy. This is only the second time to break the record, so there is no 100% chance of rare equipment dropping, and the challenge reward will not be doubled again. However, the goal of the Mad Lion mercenaries is not to obtain rare equipment, but to ensure that no one can break the new record within a week. Ha ha ha, this title of Skeleton King is really powerful. From now on, the burial ground will be my territory. The person who was laughing was Zhang Heng, the leader of the Crazy Lion mercenary team. He was in a very happy mood as he had broken the record once again. As the leader of the Crazy Lion mercenary group, Zhang Heng had a very strong aura and became the focus of everyone's attention as soon as he appeared on the stage. He is tall and strong, with a noticeable scar on his face that extends from the corner of his eye to his cheek, adding a bit of wildness to him. The Skeleton King. Lu Xingchi vaguely remembered where he had heard this title, but he couldn't remember it for a moment. Chapter 36. The King of Skeletons, a powerful lord title, has the effect of increasing the damage of summoned creatures by 20% and reducing damage by 20%. Jiulangxiu said softly. Schwer, I didn't expect you to be so knowledgeable. Lu Xingchi smiled slightly and looked at Jiulangxiu with a little more appreciation. After being reminded, he also remembered that he had seen it in the school library a year ago. The lord title is different from the ordinary title. It can only be obtained by challenging a nightmare level or higher difficulty dungeon. And the title of lord has another name, floating title. Because this title cannot be held permanently, once the copy record is broken, the lord title will be transferred to the record breaker. What did you just call me? The first time Lu Xingchi called her Schwer, Jiulangxiu seemed a little shy, with a blush on her cheeks. Sorry, if you're not used to it, I'll just call you by your full name. It's okay, just do as you like. Before Lu Xingchi could finish speaking, Jiulangxiu spoke first. Normally, when someone called her Schwer, she would feel very disgusted, and Gao Bo was one of them. Jiulangxiu asked him to call her by her full name again and again, but the other party pretended to be deaf and dumb. However, when Lu Xingchi called her Schwer, she did not feel any repulsion at all, but instead felt secretly happy. Shen Kuo saw the record being broken again, and his expression became more serious. Damn it, I forgot this guy is also a summoner. No wonder he is determined to take over the bone burial ground at all costs. Zhang Heng is also a summoner. Lu Xingchi was a little curious. That's right. Zhang Heng is a mad dragon warrior, a rare profession derived from the summoner. He can summon a dragon and possess it to fight. Shen Kuo conducted a very thorough study of his competitors and patiently explained them to Lu Xingchi. Different from ordinary summoners, the fighting style of the mad dragon warrior is tougher and he does not need to hide behind the summoned creature. You can rely on the summoned creature possession skill to greatly increase your own combat power, and your tankiness and output are extremely strong. Because of this, after obtaining the title of Skeleton King, Zhang Heng's strength increased again. While the effect of the potion was still there, the record of the Boneyard dungeon was broken once again. That's quite interesting. Lu Xingchi nodded thoughtfully. The title of Skeleton King is also a huge promotion for him. It seems that this time we not only have to set a new record for the Boneyard, but also shorten the clearance time as much as possible. He wants to make the title of King of Skeletons his permanent title. Zhang Heng noticed Shen Kuo not far away, a provocative smile appeared on his lips, and he walked over slowly. Hey, hey, hey! Brother Shen, why are you still wandering around here instead of moving? Zhang Heng, don't be so arrogant. This place is still my territory before the end of a week. As he was speaking, members of the Greedy Wolf mercenary group surrounded him aggressively. The Greedy Wolf mercenary group has hundreds of people in total, and there are hundreds of them in the burial ground. Zhang Heng rushed to the burial site overnight, and in order to ensure speed, he only brought an elite force. There were only 10 of them, and their momentum was obviously much weaker. Brother Shen, I am also following the rules of the wilderness. You can't afford to lose, right? Zhang Heng said calmly, his lips slightly raised. What a joke! It's not certain who will win or lose. Shen Kuo sneered. Although he was not as good as Zhang Heng in rank, he was not inferior in momentum. This is his territory. How can he allow others to bully him in his own territory? Why, are you still dreaming of taking back the burial ground? Zhang Heng raised his eyebrows slightly, with a hint of disdain in his eyes. If your old leader was still here, maybe there would still be a chance. As for you, humph, it's too early for you to be happy. To tell you the truth, our Greedy Wolf mercenary group has recently added 2 new generals. Shen Kuo snorted coldly and said loudly. Hearing this, Zhang Heng's heart tightened and his eyes subconsciously swept around. But after observing for a long time, no powerful people were found. Most of the people nearby are here to challenge the nightmare level dungeon, and there are only a few who are above level 25. Stop bluffing, I won't fall for it. Zhang Heng waved his hand, use whatever skills you have, I want to see who can break my record. Haha, just wait and see. Shen Kuo looked at Lu Xingchi beside him and whispered, I've boasted so much, please don't embarrass me. Following Shen Kuo's gaze, Zhang Heng also noticed Lu Xingchi and Jiangxiu. After opening the Eye of Truth, he discovered that the two were only at level 13, and it took him a while to react. Brother Shen, are these the 2 generals you mentioned? Shen Kuo looked incredulous. Yes, you are scared. Shen Kuo nodded heavily, his face full of pride. Ha ha ha. Zhang Heng couldn't help laughing. Brother Shen, are you crazy or am I crazy? Master, these 2 people are not simple. Before Shen Kuo could speak, someone on the side whispered to Zhang Heng. This person was a scout of the Mad Lion mercenary group, and he was the first to know the information about the bone burial ground. Therefore, he was very familiar with Lu Xingchi and Jiangxiu, and naturally knew how powerful they were. As expected, the smile on Zhang Heng's face gradually disappeared, replaced by solemnity. As a legendary professional oracle priest, Jiangxiu is well known and naturally no one dares to underestimate him. And Lu Xingchi is even more unfathomable. It was he who unlocked the nightmare level dungeon of the bone burial ground that gave him the opportunity. Neither of these 2 people is simple. Once they join forces, it is hard to imagine what will happen. If the Greedy Wolf mercenaries could help, they might be able to break the record again. Laughing? Just keep laughing. The smile did not disappear, it just shifted to Shen Kuo's face. Ignoring Shen Kuo's ridicule, Zhang Heng set his sights on Lu Xingchi. Little brother, why don't you join our Crazy Lion mercenary group? I'm willing to offer you a high salary. You'd better stop wasting your breath. Lu Xingchi shook his head and decisively rejected the invitation. A gentleman loves money but gets it in a proper way. He is not someone who would sell out his friends for money. Besides, the money given by the greedy wolf mercenary group is quite a lot. This kid is stubborn. After being rejected, Zhang Heng couldn't help but feel suspicious. Shen Kuo glared at Zhang Heng fiercely and angrily said, "Don't have any evil thoughts. Brother Lu is my brother, how can I let you poach him? Humph. If the two of them plus you, maybe we can clear the nightmare level bone burial ground, but if we want to break the record, I'm afraid it won't be that easy." Seeing that his attempts to win over people were ineffective, Zhang Heng immediately changed his attitude. "Who are you looking down on? Brother Lu doesn't need my help." Shen Kuo crossed his arms across his chest and said coldly. Hearing this, Zhang Heng was stunned for a while. He subconsciously believed that the greedy wolf mercenary group would send out elite troops to assist the two in setting a new record. But now it seems that this is not the case. The greedy wolf mercenaries had no intention of taking action at all. Only the two of them challenged the nightmare level burial ground. Chapter 37. He is indeed a young hero. I admire him so much. Zhang Heng rarely refuted because this was exactly what he wanted to see. Nightmare level dungeons are not as good as difficult level dungeons, and the mortality rate is very high. Even a level 30 professional could die in the dungeon if he wasn't careful. How could two little guys at level 13 walk out of the burial ground alive? 3 minutes later, the team in front of Lu Xingchi entered the dungeon. Lu Xingchi took 2 steps forward and reached out to touch the vortex in front of him. Instance, burial ground recommended level, level 20-30 instance difficulty, normal, difficult, nightmare. Without any hesitation, Lu Xingchi chose the nightmare level of difficulty. This time there was no warning. A red light flashed and the two people disappeared from the spot in an instant. When entering a nightmare level difficulty dungeon, a blood red light will be emitted. Are we going in now? Zhang Heng's face was full of question marks, and he subconsciously looked at Shen Kuo beside him. Isn't using special potions in advance a basic operation for challenging dungeon records? These two people didn't even use any special potion. It's fine if you are challenging someone of a higher level, but you don't even need any special potions, and you still want to break the record? He felt that his personality was seriously insulted. What else? Let's set off some fireworks to celebrate. Shen Kuo glanced at him. Brother Shen, your greedy wolf mercenary group is still evil. Zhang Heng couldn't help but give a thumbs up, his eyes full of teasing. Generally speaking, when a mercenary group challenges a dungeon record, the group leader should prepare special potions for them. This is the rule of the wilderness. Unexpectedly, Shen Kuo did not prepare anything and let the two of them go in like that. It's not your turn to point fingers at our greedy wolf mercenary group. Shen Kuo disdained to explain. It would be fine if that young man died, but if the eldest daughter of the Jialan family died here, the consequences would be. Zhang Heng sneered repeatedly, pretending to be enjoying the show. Suddenly, the corners of Shen Kuo's mouth twitched slightly, and soon returned to normal. In fact, he was a little unsure in his heart. After all, he had never challenged a nightmare level burial ground. He had no idea how difficult it was. If any accident really happened, I'm afraid the entire greedy wolf mercenary group would be implicated. Brother Lu, you must succeed. Shen Kuo could only pray silently in his heart. Burial place. After regaining his sight, Lu Xingchi immediately observed the surrounding environment. Compared to the difficult level, the nightmare level bone burial ground has hardly changed much except that the dungeon area is a little larger. But it revealed a heavy and depressing atmosphere, which forced Lu Xingchi to take it seriously. This was his first time to seriously challenge a dungeon with a team. He needed to consider not only his own safety, but also the safety of his teammates. With the help of his innate quantum link, Lu Xingchi reduced all damage by 150 times. Even if an accidental mistake occurred, Lu Xingchi's life would not be in danger. But that doesn't mean Jiangxiu can withstand it. If she is accidentally attacked by a monster, the huge attribute gap may cause her to be killed instantly. This is also one of the reasons why Lu Xingchi is unwilling to form a team. Very few people can keep up with his pace of challenging higher-level opponents. Schwer, hide behind me and protect yourself. Lu Xingchi was extremely serious. Don't worry, I won't hold you back. In fact, you don't have to worry about my safety at all. Jiangxiu didn't care and didn't seem to be worried about her own safety. Lu Xingchi knew that Jiangxiu was not an arrogant person, so she must have something to rely on when she said that. Do you have any life-saving skills? I have a passive skill called God's Blessing. As long as my teammates are not killed, I will not be harmed. Xingchi smiled slightly and explained patiently. Oh my god! Xingchi has extremely high standards, and few people can make him lose his composure like this. The passive skill of God's Blessing is so powerful that it is not inferior even to the Perpetual Motion Engine. As expected of the strongest legendary priest class, this passive skill alone makes Xingchi invincible. No wonder even the Abyss Church coveted her and tried every means to capture her. It's not that great actually. Xingchi felt a little shy when Xingchi stared at her. She touched her hot cheek and said, compared to your profession, my profession is nothing. In that case, can you fight the Lord alone? Xingchi was a little curious. I'm afraid this is impossible. God's blessing will put me in a state of nothingness, and the monsters will ignore me. Xingchi shook her head. I see. Xingchi fell into deep thought. The state of nothingness is different from concealment. Even area attacks cannot affect Xingchi. This way, it will not attract the hatred of monsters, as if it is a ghost wandering in the copy. So you don't have to worry about me at all. On the contrary, I will protect you. Xingchi smiled lightly, making people feel like spring breeze. Then I'll leave it to you. Xingchi nodded, and immediately a machinery factory appeared beside him. One after another, mechanical hounds rushed out from the factory vortex. After a while, a total of 150 mechanical hounds were on full alert, with their heads held high and chests puffed out, waiting for their master's orders. Action! After the kill order was issued, most of the mechanical hounds scattered in all directions. Xingchi only retained 10 mechanical hounds as guards to ensure his own safety. Xingchi was not idle either. She raised her hand and summoned a refined magic wand. The staff is one of the weapons commonly used by the priest profession, and it has a relatively high bonus to intelligence. In addition to the staff, there are many other types of main weapons that priests can use. For example, crosses, magic books, rosaries, totems, scepters. Great Holy Light, grant me strength, dispel darkness, and bring dawn. Xingchi gently waved her staff and chanted softly at the same time. A ray of holy light slowly gathered above Xingchi, and finally turned into holy light and sank into his brows. Xingchi felt a pure power surging in his body, and an indescribable sense of comfort spread throughout his body. This is the Oracle Priest's enhancement skill, Blessing of Light. The third level Blessing of Light can increase Xingchi's overall attributes by 30%. Even though it's only a 30% increase, for the mechanical hound with amazing attributes, the attribute growth it brings is also amazing. The most important thing is that unlike special potions, enhancement skills have no side effects. The Blessing of Light lasts for 30 minutes, with a cooldown of 10 minutes. This means that when assisting only one person, Xingchi can always enjoy this benefit state. As Xingchi's own attributes increased, the attributes of the mechanical hound also rose accordingly. The already exaggerated speed increased again, like black lightning rampaging through the copy. Xingchi knew the way to the main tomb chamber, and walked slowly towards the poisonous corridor. 5 mechanical hounds act as demoners, and another 5 mechanical hounds serve as rear guard. Chapter 38. Before they had walked far, a corrupt corpse crawled out of the dead grave. Corrupted ghoul, normal monster, level, 20 strength, 7,400 intelligence, 1,000 agility, 5,200 physique, 7,300 skill. Corruption bite. The monster level in the nightmare level dungeon is the same as that in the difficult level dungeon, but the attributes have increased a lot. At the same time, the density of monsters in the dungeon is much higher, so the difficulty is naturally incomparable. Oh! A foul stench gushed out of the corrupt corpse's mouth, and it let out a creepy roar. Xingchi knew that no monster could hurt him, but he still subconsciously grabbed Xingchi's sleeve. This was her first time to challenge an undead copy, and she was a little afraid of these scary-looking guys. Don't be afraid, just don't look too closely. Xingchi comforted softly. After all, she is a girl, so it is normal for her to be afraid of scary things. As he spoke, 5 mechanical hounds launched a fierce attack. The corrupted ghouls are stronger than the difficult levels, but the mechanical hounds are not standing still. For a moment, the claws whistled, flesh and blood flew everywhere, and the corrupt corpse was torn into pieces. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 9450 experience points. Get corruption fang *1. Liu Xingchi couldn't help but gasp when he saw his experience point almost breaking 10,000. If I remember correctly, the experience points gained from killing the corrupted ghoul in the difficult level dungeon are 4,500 points. It has more than doubled in one go, and the upgrade efficiency has been greatly improved. This was mainly due to Jiangxiu's professional talent aura, which enabled her to gain a lot of extra experience. Schwetter, how much extra experience can your innate ability add? Liu Xingchi asked. The Oracle Aura can increase the experience points of the entire team by an additional 50%. Jiangxiu answered truthfully. The Oracle Aura has a range limit. Once the distance is too far, you will not be able to enjoy the additional experience bonus of the aura. It is precisely because of this god-level talent that the Oracle Mage has become the most popular priest profession. After all, level is the foundation of all strength, and no one will complain that their level is too high. Liu Xingchi nodded silently and fell into deep thought. That's right, the basic experience of a nightmare level corrupted ghoul is 6,750 points. It is 1.5 times higher than difficult level monsters and 3 times higher than wild monsters of the same level. Team experience is reduced by 10%, and Oracle Aura increases by an additional 50%. This 50% additional experience bonus should be calculated based on the basic experience. Calculated in this way, it is exactly 9450 experience points. In this way, maybe I can reach level 20. Liu Xingchi muttered to himself in excitement. Even for a legendary profession, it is difficult to reach level 20 in 30 days. If Liu Xingchi could really break through level 20 before the joint entrance exam, it would be a sure thing for him to be admitted to a top university. Maybe I can even get the top prize or something. If I become the top scholar, I will definitely be able to meet Uncle Guan. Thinking of this, Liu Xingchi became even more motivated. Captain, why are you grinning? Jiangxiu turned her head slightly and waved her slender hands in front of Liu Xingchi. Nothing. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head, then continued walking forward. With the mechanical hound providing escort, Liu Xingchi hardly ever needs to take action. After the mechanical army attracted a large wave of monsters, they began to slaughter them crazily. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 9450 experience points. Get corruption fang *1. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 9450 experience points. A large amount of experience points flashed across the screen, and it seemed that the two of them were about to break through level 14. Wow, the monster spawning speed is too fast. Jiangxiu had never seen such an exaggerated monster spawning speed, and was extremely excited for a moment. Although I knew that the mechanical hound was powerful, I didn't expect it to be so exaggerated. This is a nightmare-level dungeon monster, and it couldn't even withstand the trampling of the mechanical army. She suddenly felt that all the knowledge she had learned in 3 years of high school was wasted. What is the iron triangle of warrior, mage, and priest, what is the kite tactics, and what is the pentagon formation? All of them are useless. In the face of absolute strength, why bother with so much trouble? Just let the mechanical hound rush forward and that's it. Liu Xingchi noticed that Jiangxiu hadn't caught up with him, so he turned around and called out, Schwetter. Here it comes. Coming back to her senses, Jiangxiu hurriedly followed. An hour later, the two arrived in front of the poisonous tunnel. At this moment, both of them have broken through level 14, and their personal attributes have improved a lot. Through the barrier, Liu Xingchi observed briefly and found that the length of the poisonous tunnel had more than doubled. With his movement speed, he might not make it to the end without the use of potions to detoxify. However, there is a solution. He just needs to use the mechanical hound as a mount and the problem will be solved. With the mechanical hound's agility of over 20,000, even if its speed was slightly reduced while carrying him, it could still pass through the poisonous tunnel easily. But he wouldn't do that because it was really embarrassing. Especially in front of Jiangxiu, he was even more unwilling to do so, and there was no need to do so. Schwetter, do you have continuous purification skills? Liu Xingchi turned his head and asked. Jiangxiu nodded, yes, I have a purification field that can remove abnormal conditions on a large scale. That's good. After getting the definite answer, Liu Xingchi felt more confident. Not long after, the poisonous tunnel barrier disappeared. This means that the dungeon exploration has reached 60%, and they are now eligible to challenge the Lord. However, Liu Xingchi had no intention of entering the tunnel. He planned to kill all the monsters. Aren't we going in? Xingchi was a little confused. Don't worry, it won't be too late to go in after killing all the monsters. Xingchi randomly found a tombstone not far away, blew on it and sat on it. Xingchi also understood what he meant and sat quietly next to Xingchi. Breaking the record is a foregone conclusion, but there is only one chance to double the experience, so I certainly can't let it go easily. Xingchi has played many dungeons, but has never been as leisurely as today. It was so relaxing that it felt like I was just shopping instead of challenging a dungeon. Although as a priest he does not need to participate in combat personally, he needs to always pay attention to the condition of his teammates. Various healing and purification techniques need to be released accurately, and I am often busy and exhausted. But if I team up with Xingchi, it seems that there is no need to take care of him at all. All you need to do is occasionally replenish your buff skills, it's really too easy. Captain, I heard you say before that you wanted to apply to a Hyuxia middle school, right? Perhaps because she was too bored, Xingchi couldn't help but start chatting. That's right, I made an agreement with someone that I must be admitted to a Hyuxia middle school. Xingchi nodded. I made a promise with someone. Xingchi frowned slightly, her cheeks puffed up. That person is your girlfriend, right? Ah. Xingchi was also confused, and then he realized that what he said was indeed easy to cause misunderstanding. He smiled and shook his head, and quickly explained, I don't have time for premature love. That was an agreement between me and an elder. Chapter 39. Oh. Xingchi was secretly delighted, and no longer looked as sulky as before. Tick. A drop of dark green saliva silently dripped onto the tombstone behind Xingchi. A ray of golden light flashed in Xingchi's eyes, and her passive skill Divine Perception was activated. He raised his head suddenly and found an alien corpse hanging upside down above the tombstone. This alien corpse's hands and feet are like a stick insect, with 4 segments. The sharp ghost claws easily embedded into the stone wall, and the blood-red eyes stared at the prey below. It looks like a giant spider with a human body, and its weird appearance alone is enough to make people shudder. Almost at the moment she raised her head, the alien zombie suddenly attacked. The alien zombie is extremely fast, like a runaway spring. Careful! Xingchi pushed Xingchi away. The ghost claw, as sharp as a knife, brushed past Xingchi and split the tombstone in 2 with a bang. Xingchi reacted quickly and subconsciously activated static stealth. After losing its target, the alien zombie fell into confusion, waving its sickle-like limbs like mad. Xingchi retreated quickly and opened the Eye of Truth at the same time, scanning the white walkers in front of him. Rampaging Ghoul, Mutated Monster, Level, 20 Strength, 7,800 Intelligence, 1,100 Agility, 8,200 Physique, 2,100 Skill, Rampage and Slash in Nightmare-level dungeons, there is a chance that mutant monsters will appear. Compared to ordinary monsters, they are obviously more dangerous. However, this rampaging ghoul is only good at sneak attacks and is a fragile creature. Its combat power is even worse than that of a corrupt ghoul. 10 mechanical hounds cut it into pieces in the blink of an eye. Kill the rampaging corpse and gain 19,000 experience points. Get 1 cheeky long legs. I was careless. I didn't expect there would be monsters on the dome. Xingchi frowned slightly and muttered to himself. However, discovering the hidden mutant monster was a good thing for him. The experience of a rampaging ghoul is much greater than that of a corrupt ghoul. If there are enough rampaging zombies, maybe he can reach level 15. Are you okay? Regardless of whether Xingchi was injured or not, Xingchi cast a healing spell on him. I'm not injured, so there's no need to waste your energy. Xingchi smiled and shook his head, thanks to you for reminding me, otherwise I would have been taken advantage of by that ghost thing. Even if the rampaging zombie succeeds, due to its powerful talent, it will only lose 5% of its health at most. But being injured will still hurt, so if you can avoid it, try your best. This is a pastor's duty. You don't have to thank me. Xingchi smiled. How did you find that thing? Is it your skill? Xingchi himself was quite vigilant, and he didn't notice it at all, so he thought it was not a coincidence. Yes, I have 2 passive skills, one is God's Blessing, and the other is God's Perception. Xingchi nodded and said calmly, God's Perception can predict all dangers within 30 meters in advance. I see. Xingchi suppressed the shock in his heart. As expected of the strongest legendary priest class, not a single skill is useless. Whether it is God's Blessing or God's Perception, they are both absolute divine skills. This rampaging corpse has so much experience, we can't waste it. Xingchi raised his head and looked at the bare dome, and couldn't help falling into deep thought. If I'm not mistaken, a certain mechanism must be triggered for the runaway zombie to appear. Thinking of this, he began to recall what he had just done and soon got the answer. Xingchi walked to another tombstone and reached out to touch it. Sure enough, a pair of bloodshot eyes suddenly appeared on the originally empty dome. After the rampaging ghoul is fully materialized, its limbs bend like springs to accumulate energy. Xingchi would not give it a chance to attack and raised the blade runner in his hand. Bang! Gently pull the trigger, and a flaming bullet flies out. The rampaging zombie is just a small and fragile creature, how can it withstand the explosive bomb with 15 times the damage? Roar! The blazing flames shot up into the sky, burning the rampaging zombies to ashes alive. Xingchi on the side was stunned. This was the first time he saw Xingchi take action personally. I thought Xingchi relied entirely on the mechanical hound, but I never expected that he himself possessed such terrifying combat power. Aren't you a summoner? How come your attack skills are so powerful? Xingchi was so excited that she couldn't speak clearly. Xingchi didn't take it seriously and said calmly, "It's not that powerful, it's just that the rampaging corpse ghost is too weak. By the way, I still don't know what your occupation is." Xingchi said. "My job name is Mechanical Commander. Although it is a branch of the summoning system, my skills are quite comprehensive." Xingchi had no intention of keeping his skills to himself and gave a brief introduction of his skills. However, he did not mention his talent and the hidden special effects of the Rubik's Cube. This is his trump card and cannot be easily revealed. Amazing! If your profession wasn't a new profession, it would definitely be rated as a legendary profession. Xingchi did not hide her admiration. She had never seen a legendary summoner class comparable to the Mechanical Lord. Whether it is a legendary profession or a rare profession, it is simply selected by people based on experience. Most legendary professions have been tested through the trials and tribulations of history. However, there is no chance for the Mechanical Commander. As a unique profession, it will never appear again in the future. It doesn't matter. Gold will always shine, right? Xingchi spread his hands, looking very optimistic. It's a little different. If you were a legendary, you wouldn't have to work so hard to level up. Xingchi muttered softly. What do you mean? Xingchi tilted his head slightly, not quite understanding. Xingchi explained, legendary professions can guarantee admission to top universities, and all you need to do is reach level 15. There is such a thing, I am ignorant of it. Xingchi touched his nose and a bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. No one in the school has awakened a legendary profession, so it's not surprising that he doesn't know the rules for admission. Zhongcheng is just a small county town, and legendary professions don't appear every year. I think this is unfair to you. With your ability, you should be admitted without taking the entrance exam. Xingchi was angrily looking at Xingchi who was standing up for him. Xingchi smiled and shook his head. When this little girl gets angry, she looks like a little puffer fish, which is quite cute. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I can pass the joint entrance examination and get into a Hyuxia university. There's nothing unfair about it. Xingchi consoled with a smile. Without giving Xingchi time to react, Xingchi looked at another tombstone and said, "This rampaging corpse ghost is a free experience, don't miss it." Chapter 40. As he spoke, Xingchi had already arrived under the tombstone and gently touched it. Following the same method, the explosive bomb showed its power and easily killed the rampaging zombies. In order to speed up the process, Xingchi also joined the ranks of touching the tombstone. However, she was in a state of nothingness in the eyes of the monster. After touching the tombstone to lure out the runaway zombie, the zombie that lost its target jumped down by itself. The runaway zombie that fell to the ground was like a sheep falling into a tiger's mouth, and was quickly torn into pieces by the nearby mechanical hounds. Kill the rampaging corpse and gain 19,000 experience points. Get 1 cheeky long legs. Kill the rampaging corpse and gain 19,000 experience points. The experience points of the two people are increasing rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. An hour later, the last tombstone was touched. All the rampaging zombies were killed, and the experience bar progress reached 42%. The two returned to the poisonous passage, and more than 3 hours had passed since they entered the bone burial ground. It seems we need to hurry up. Liu Xingchi said softly. The new record of the Mad Lion mercenaries is more than 4 hours, and they don't have much time left. Schwer, how long can your purification field last? Liu Xingchi suffered once at the hands of a poisonous corpse ghost, so naturally he didn't want to suffer a second time. There is no fixed duration. It can be kept open until your mental power is exhausted. Jialangxiu thought about it carefully. If we take into account the mental power, if it is kept open without interruption, it can probably last for about half an hour. Half an hour, so long? Liu Xingchi was also shocked. As expected of a legendary profession, compared to the basic priest profession, the oracle priest skills are much stronger. The nightmare level poisonous passage is more than twice as long as the difficult level one. It takes about half an hour to pass at normal speed, and about 10 minutes to run at a fast speed. This should be the elite level, right? Is it very tricky? Jialangxiu also became nervous. Fortunately, with your purification field, it's not a big problem. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head, saying softly. After saying that, the mechanical hound entered the highly toxic passage first. The sarcophagi hanging on both sides of the passage did not move at all. Liu Xingchi was not surprised at all by this, as the mechanical hound was unable to trigger the sarcophagus opening mechanism. Jialangxiu finished her chant, and a circle of golden holy light spread out with her as the center. Within the purification area, abnormal conditions can be cleared instantly. After everything was ready, Liu Xingchi was the first to enter the highly poisonous corridor. At the beginning, just like in the difficult level copy, there was no movement in the coffins on both sides. Careful Liu Xingchi observed that there were a few strange blood-red sarcophagi mixed in the black sarcophagi. There are even more complex ghost patterns on the blood coffin, which faintly exudes an extremely dangerous aura. Could it be that there are mutations among the elite monsters? Liu Xingchi stopped and thought to himself. Since there are mutant monsters and runaway zombies among ordinary monsters, it is not surprising that mutations appear among elite monsters. However, he did not feel afraid at all, but was secretly excited. If he were to challenge it alone, it might be a bit tricky to encounter unknown mutated elite monsters. But now with Jialangxiu's help, it doesn't matter even if mutated elite monsters appear. The mutated elite monsters must give you a lot of experience, and the rewards for breaking records will be doubled, which makes me happy just thinking about it. Captain, what's wrong? Jialangxiu saw Liu Xingchi stop and asked softly. Nothing. Liu Xingchi came back to his senses and continued walking forward. When they were about 1/3 of the way into the poisonous tunnel, the sarcophagi on both sides suddenly trembled. Buzz buzz buzz. Unlike the difficult level burial ground, the sarcophagi are opened one by one. In the nightmare level copy, all the sarcophagi in the poisonous corridor open at the same time. The coffin lid exploded, and hundreds of poisonous zombies spewed out dark green poisonous mist almost at the same time. In the blink of an eye, the entire poisonous corridor was filled with poisonous fog, and the vision became blurred. All the poisonous zombies rushed towards Liu Xingchi with their fangs and claws bared, like crazy. The mechanical hound's eyes turned red and it roared as it rushed towards the tide of zombies. For a moment, blood and flesh flew everywhere, and a fishy wind blew in the face. Howling sounds and mechanical roars came one after another, and the battle was extremely fierce. The mechanical army, both in quality and quantity, firmly suppressed the tide of zombies. 150 mechanical hounds were like a steel wall, blocking the tide of zombies out. Kill the poisonous corpse and gain 42,000 experience points. Kill the poisonous corpse and gain 42,000 experience points. The experience points awarded for killing elite monsters are much higher than those for killing ordinary monsters. Massive amounts of experience continued to pour in, and Liu Xingchi and Jialangxiu's experience bars rose wildly. The two were in the purification area and were not affected by the poisonous fog at all. The poisoning state is one of the abnormal states, and the purification field can continuously remove all abnormal states. Liu Xingchi completely ignored the poisonous corpse ghost and was not even interested in opening the Eye of Truth to scan the data. Instead, he stared at the blood-red sarcophagus not far away that had not yet been opened. Strange, why doesn't he come out? Liu Xingchi muttered to himself, seeming a little depressed that the bloody sarcophagus had not been opened. In his eyes, these monsters are all experience points and must not be missed. If other people knew what Liu Xingchi was thinking, they would probably be furious. Every time they challenged a nightmare copy, they prayed not to encounter mutated monsters, especially mutated elite monsters. But Liu Xingchi was still actively looking for mutant monsters, and even felt annoyed for not encountering any. Even a powerful group like the Mad Lion mercenaries remained highly cautious when they challenged the boneyard. Tombstones and blood coffins are such weird things that you dare not even look at them, let alone touch them. Will it be like the rampaging zombies, requiring some mechanism to be triggered? Xingchi also guessed what Liu Xingchi was thinking and muttered to herself. The rampaging zombie needs to touch the tombstone, otherwise it will not appear on its own. That makes sense. Liu Xingchi nodded thoughtfully, then walked towards the nearest blood-red sarcophagus. After observing it carefully, he reached out to touch the strange blood coffin. As expected, the blood coffin began to tremble violently, and yin energy as thick as blood poured out from the cracks. The other 9 blood coffins made strange noises at the same time, and the entire poisonous corridor trembled slightly. Liu Xingchi subconsciously took 2 steps back. Boom boom boom. In the poisonous tunnel, 10 bloody coffins opened almost at the same time, revealing the corpses hidden inside. Even though he was mentally prepared, Liu Xingchi was still frightened by the appearance of the corpse in the blood coffin. This is a monster with a horrible appearance, with a emaciated body and skin as pale as paper. His eyes were sunken, emitting a dark blood-red light, his hair was like dead grass, and his nails were sharp and long. The most terrifying thing is that their mouths are so big that they extend all the way behind their ears, revealing their white teeth, and their faces are severely distorted. Chapter 41. Liu Xingchi almost vomited out the overnight meal, but he quickly reacted and opened the Eye of Truth. Howling Ghoul, Mutated Elite Monster, Level, 20 Strength, 100 Intelligence, 12,400 Agility, 100 Constitution, 100 Skill. Fearful Ghost Howl. Howling ghouls, like rampage ghouls, are also extremely biased monsters. The other 3 attributes are pitifully low, only intelligence has exceeded 10,000. This was also the first time that Liu Xingchi saw a monster with attributes exceeding 10,000, even surpassing the skeleton ghost general in the difficult level copy. However, it still cannot be compared with the properties of the mechanical hound, and there is still a huge gap between the two. Faced with such a strange mutated elite monster, Liu Xingchi did not dare to underestimate it and quickly raised the Blade Runner in his hand. This monster's stamina is so low that it can be easily killed with just one shot. But before he could pull the trigger, the howling zombie suddenly opened its bloody mouth. "Oaa!" A strange scream came out of the howling corpse's mouth, gloomy and shrill. The voice was filled with malice and fear, like crying but not laughing, revealing an indescribable weirdness. 10 howling zombies howled at the same time. The harsh sound waves echoed continuously in the narrow corridor, and the air became distorted. Under the strong sound wave attack, a strong feeling of dizziness came over me, as if my eardrums were about to be pierced. It was only a brief dizziness, and the purification field soon took effect. Dizziness is also an abnormal state and can be purified. The feeling of dizziness quickly dissipated and Liu Xingchi regained consciousness, but the piercing sonic boom did not disappear. Sonic attacks are extremely special and there is almost no way to resist them. Liu Xingchi's health points are decreasing at a rate of 2% per second. Healing Spell. Seeing this, Xingchi released an active healing skill. A ray of holy light enveloped Liu Xingchi, and the health points that had just been lost were instantly restored. The healing spell of the Oracle Priest is calculated based on the intelligence attribute. As a priest, Xingchi's intelligence attribute is naturally much higher than Liu Xingchi's. One healing spell can restore nearly half of the health points, so this minor injury is no problem. Just shut up. Liu Xingchi raised his hand and fired a shot. No incendiary bombs were used, just normal attacks. The howling ghoul's physique is pitifully low, and it would be destroyed almost immediately after being touched, so it's not worth it for him to use his skills. As expected, ordinary bullets easily killed the howling ghouls, and the harsh noise was slightly weaker. Kill the howling ghoul and gain 61,000 experience points. Kill the howling corpse ghost and obtain ghost wedding dress *1. Compared to elite monsters, mutated elite monsters do give much more experience. The ghost wedding dress is also made of rare material, which cannot be compared with ordinary materials and is extremely expensive. However, compared with the danger of provoking mutated elite monsters, it is not worth mentioning. Even though Liu Xingchi killed the howling corpse easily, that was because he had the assistance of Xingchi. If the Mad Lion mercenary group dared to provoke the howling corpses, they would most likely be wiped out instantly. The Howl of Fear is a group control skill, and it also has decent area damage. Ordinary priests do not have god-level passive abilities such as God's Blessing, and cannot resist control skills. The combination of stun and poison is enough to overwhelm even the tankiest knight. If it weren't for Xingchi's help, Lu Xingchi wouldn't have touched the blood coffin so recklessly. After killing the first howling corpse, Lu Xingchi continued to move forward. He didn't need to do anything himself, the mechanical hound led the way. The howling ghost mother was as fragile as paper in front of the mechanical hound and shattered at the slightest touch. The last howling corpse was killed, and the two reached the end of the poisonous tunnel. Lu Xingchi's experience bar has reached 77%, not far from level 15. Xilangxiu and Lu Xingchi's experience levels remain synchronized, both reaching 77%. As soon as I walked out of the corridor, I felt a gust of cold wind and a bone-chilling chill. What came into view was a huge black coffin, which was an astonishing 10 meters long. There were strange blood patterns engraved on the black coffin, and the air was filled with a strong smell of blood. Could it be that he is not a skeleton ghost general? Lu Xingchi looked at the black coffin in front of him and couldn't help feeling confused. The sarcophagus of the skeleton ghost general was only 5 meters long, and the ghost patterns engraved on it were far less complicated than the black coffin in front of him. Without much thought, no matter what lord he is, just kill him and be done with it. It took a lot of time to kill the rampaging zombies and the howling zombies along the way. It is now almost 4 hours before we enter the boneyard, and we cannot waste any more time. This time Lu Xingchi did not choose to enter stealth mode. He was ready to kill the final lord as quickly as possible. Boom! An explosive bomb burst out of the barrel and hit the giant black coffin accurately. The black coffin suddenly exploded, revealing the final lord hiding inside. It still looks like a skeleton, but its body is much larger than the skeleton ghost general. It was wearing a jet black robe, which enveloped its tall body like a black mist. The empty eye sockets in his skull were burning with ghostly lights, illuminating his terrifying skull face. His bony hands tightly grasped a scepter inlaid with the skull, and he wore a long broken crown on his head. Lu Xingchi opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the information of the final lord. Skeleton Ghost King, Lord, Level, 20 Strength, 13,000 Intelligence, 14,000 Agility, 10,000 Physique, 15,000 Skills, Hellish Will-O-the-Wisp, Ghost King's Command, Immortal Blessing as expected of a Nightmare level Lord, all 4 attributes exceeded 10,000. Among them, the highest physical attribute is even close to that of the Mechanical Hound. However, in terms of numbers, the Mechanical Army still has an overwhelming advantage. Who dares to disturb this king? The Skeleton Ghost King hadn't spoken yet, but a majestic voice came from all directions. Looking down at Lu Xingchi below, his bones made a series of sharp cracking sounds. Lu Xingchi had no interest in talking to the monster, so he said coldly, "Kill." At a command, all the mechanical hounds rushed towards the Skeleton Ghost King. The mechanical army is best at dealing with large monsters and can maximize its numerical advantage. After all, the mechanical hound can only attack at close range, and cannot launch attacks at the same time when facing small monsters. Go to hell, you tiny bug! In the eyes of the Skeleton Ghost King, both Lu Xingchi and the mechanical hound had pitifully low attributes. This weak creature is no different from an ant on the ground. It held up the bone scepter in its hand high, and countless bloody ghost fires quickly gathered. The Skeleton Ghost King's first skill is Hellish Will-O-the-Ghost. With a gentle shake, countless blood-red ghost lights fell like a meteor shower. The coverage area is extremely exaggerated, almost covering most of the main tomb chamber. However, although this move has a large range, its attack speed is not fast. The mechanical hound is as fast as lightning, so how could it be hit by the Will-O-the-Wisp? Chapter 42. Boom! Ghost fires fell madly from the sky, turning the ground into a sea of bloody fire. The mechanical hound couldn't fly, so it naturally couldn't hide, and its entire body was bathed in a sea of fire. The steel body slowly melted, and the mechanical hound's health points were decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, the Skeleton Ghost King was not in a much better situation, as the first batch of mechanical hounds had already arrived in front of him. With its agility, the mechanical hound easily climbed onto the Skeleton Ghost King and began to bite him madly. The power attribute of the mechanical hound is not weaker than that of the Skeleton Ghost King, and each attack can cause huge damage. Interesting. Lu Xingchi stood outside the sea of fire with a smile on his face. It was really not easy to finally encounter a monster that could hurt the mechanical hound. Recall. Lu Xingchen recalled the most seriously injured batch of mechanical hounds and sent them to the mechanical factory for repair. The repair speed of the mechanical factory is boosted by the special effects of the Rubik's Cube, so the repair is completed in just over 10 seconds. After the repair was completed, a large group of mechanical hounds rushed towards the Skeleton King again. In this way, the mechanical army became an undead army, tirelessly launching round after round of attacks. In his spare time, Liu Xingchi slowly pulled the trigger, and one explosive bomb after another accurately hit the heart of the Skeleton Ghost King. The soul fire burns in the heart of the Skeleton Ghost King, which is its weakness, and attacks can cause higher damage. Despicable ants, damn! Faced with the siege of hundreds of mechanical hounds, the Skeleton Ghost King was helpless and let out a painful roar. In less than 3 minutes, the Skeleton Ghost King's health dropped to 50%. On the other hand, on the mechanical army's side, not a single mechanical hound was killed in battle. My loyal servant, obey my call and fight for your king. The Skeleton Ghost King raised the scepter in his hand again, and dazzling blood light bloomed. The second skill is activated, the Ghost King's order. Within the coverage of the sea of hellfire, one after another, hellish corpses covered in flames crawled out. It was not until he saw dozens of hellish corpses that Liu Xingchi understood why the title of Skeleton King had a bonus for summoning creatures. The attributes of these hellish ghouls are only half of those of Skeleton Kings, and no experience points can be gained by killing them. Such a weak hell ghoul was naturally no match for the mechanical hound and was killed instantly upon first encounter. The trouble is that as long as the Skeleton Ghost King is not dead, these hellish corpses can be reborn infinitely and split into 2 corpses. As time goes by, the number of hell's zombies increases, and there is even a trend of surpassing the mechanical army. Don't attack the corpse ghosts, focus all your fire on the Skeleton Ghost King. Liu Xingchi gave the order again. The mechanical hounds no longer paid any attention to the slow-moving hell ghouls, and all swarmed towards the Skeleton King. On the feet, shoulders, back, and head of the tall Skeleton Ghost King, mechanical hounds are attached to almost every part of the body. The Skeleton King's health points were dropping rapidly, and were approaching 30%. The Skeleton Ghost King and the Skeleton Ghost General both have the Immortal Protection skill, and low health will increase defense. Liu Xingchi naturally would not give it this opportunity. After reaching the killing line, he recalled most of the mechanical hounds. Only 3 mechanical hounds were left, still in the heart. Mechanical detonation. Liu Xingchi's lips and teeth moved slightly, and the 3 mechanical hounds sounded the alarm at the same time. 3 seconds later, a violent explosion sounded, and a blinding white light was as bright as the scorching summer sun. The Skeleton Ghost King and the Hell Corpse Ghost were all annihilated in the white light. Kill the Skeleton Ghost King and gain 110,000 experience points. Kill the Skeleton Ghost King and obtain the rare equipment, Skeleton Scepter. Obtain rare material, Soul Fire. Congratulations on breaking the Boneyard, Nightmare level, record and obtaining the title of Lord, Skeleton King. Congratulations on breaking the Boneyard, Nightmare level, record. The reward for this challenge is doubled. Congratulations on your level upgrade, current level is LV15. 2 beams of light descended from the sky, covering Liu Xingchi and Jiangxiu. The levels of the 2 were completely synchronized and they reached level 15 together. Liu Xingchi couldn't wait to open his personal attribute interface. Name, Liu Xingchi. Occupation, Mechanical Commander, only 1, level, 15 Strength, 1000 plus 300 Intelligence, 1000 plus 300 Agility, 1000 plus 300 Physique, 1000 plus 300 Main Weapon, Blade Runner, Rubik's Cube. The basic attributes finally broke through the 1000 mark, and 2 new skills were also mastered. Liu Xingchi was not in a hurry to check his skills, but opened his temporary backpack. The so-called temporary backpack refers to the public backpack in team mode. Only the captain has the authority to distribute the spoils. After breaking the dungeon record, all loot in the temporary backpack will be doubled. The only thing that is not doubled is the Lord title, because it is a special item. Liu Xingchi gave the Skeleton Scepter to Jiangxiu. It just so happened that the scepter was also a type of weapon that could be used by the priest profession. As for the Lord title Lord of Bones, it was of course assigned to himself. Liu Xingchi divided the rest of the materials and gold coins equally. Captain, you don't have to give me so much. I didn't help much. Jiangxiu pursed her lips, seeming a little embarrassed. She knew very well that even without forming a team, as long as Liu Xingchi did not touch the blood coffin, she could pass the nightmare level burial ground. Generally speaking, as the core of the entire team, the captain naturally makes the greatest contribution. When distributing the spoils, the captain is entitled to a higher proportion, and most team members will not object. A situation where everything is divided equally, as happened to Liu Xingchi, is almost impossible. I'm not sure how other teams divide the points, but my team always gets an even split. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head, his eyes like water. Besides, as long as you are here, it will be the greatest help to me. Through this challenge to the nightmare level bone burial ground, Liu Xingchi also realized the importance of priests. To be precise, it is the importance of Jiulangxiu. Not to mention Jiulangxiu's god-level talent aura, which can increase the upgrade speed by 1.5 times. His powerful skills alone gave Liu Xingchi a lot of sense of security. The road ahead will only become more and more dangerous. He knows exactly what Jiulangxiu means. Now that you said that, it would be petty for me to be polite. Jiulangxiu nodded and said softly. In fact, given her family background, she is not short of money at all. However, her backpack was looted and she was now penniless. Besides, she doesn't like asking her family for money, she hopes to be self-reliant with her own abilities. Let's go. Don't keep Captain Shen waiting anxiously. The copy exit has appeared, and Liu Xingchi walked towards the whirlpool. Jiulangxiu immediately followed and left the burial place together. Chapter 43. Copy location. 4 full hours had passed since Liu Xingchi entered the bone burial ground. Why haven't you come out yet? Shen Kuo appears calm on the surface, but in fact he is more worried than anyone else. The Crazy Lion mercenary group set a new record in 4.5 hours, and Liu Xingchi didn't have much time left. Humph! That kid hasn't come out yet. He must have died in there. Zhang Heng raised the corners of his mouth, not hiding his inner joy at all. There's still half an hour left, and the outcome is still unknown. Shen Kuo pretended to be calm and said in a cold voice. You are so stubborn. Do you really think you can keep your territory by relying on a rookie? Zhang Heng smiled and shook his head, as if he had everything under control. As the two were talking, the copy suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light. The light is so bright that one cannot open their eyes and it is hard not to notice it. Then everyone nearby received a system message. Congratulations to the Greedy Wolf mercenary group for breaking the Boneyard dungeon record. Instance, burial ground difficulty, nightmare level new record, 4 hours, 3 minutes, 18 seconds compared with the record set by the Mad Lion mercenary group not long ago. Liu Xingchi's record time was shortened by half an hour. Oh my god! What happened to the burial ground these past 2 days? Why is the record broken again and again? Liu Xingchi is so amazing. He could have done a difficult dungeon, but he actually broke the nightmare dungeon record again. Who on earth is he? Could he be some kind of high-level legendary professional? For a moment, everyone was talking about it, their eyes full of envy. Many people are speculating about Liu Xingchi's profession, treating it as some kind of high-level legendary profession. Legendary professions, like rare professions, are divided into 3 levels, high, medium and low. For example, the Mad Dragon Fighter and the Wind Spirit Walker are both rare intermediate professions. Jiulangxiu's profession, Oracle Priest, is a high-level legendary profession rarely seen in the world. As for the Mechanical Commander, as it is the only profession that appears for the first time, it cannot be divided. How is this possible? Zhang Heng stared at the system screen that popped up in front of him and was stunned for a long time. In order to break the record of the Boneyard Dungeon, their Mad Lion mercenary group spent tens of millions of gold coins. Not only did they purchase a large number of expensive special effect potions, they also purchased equipment for the undead. But it was easily broken by 2 greenhorns. Ha ha ha! Captain Zhang, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Shen Kuo felt relieved and couldn't help but burst out laughing. Zhang Heng immediately opened the equipment column and found that the title column was empty. Since Liu Xingchi broke the record again, the title of Skeleton King has fallen into his hands. Damn it, I finally earned this title. Zhang Heng felt like he was about to explode with anger, his eyes were bloodshot. This title means a lot to him, even more important than the Boneyard Dungeon. Otherwise, he would not have spent a huge amount of money just to break the record of the Boneyard Dungeon. Tisk tisk tisk. This title, which cost tens of millions, is gone just like that. How pitiful. Shen Kuo shook his head with a playful look on his face. Don't be too proud, I will be back. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Heng left with his men without looking back. Captain, that kid Liu Xingchi is really evil. Let's just forget about it. The person who spoke was Zhao Xin, the deputy leader of the Crazy Lion mercenary group. In order to break the record of the Boneyard Dungeon, the Mad Lion mercenary group has sent out all its elite troops. It doesn't count. I'll fight them to the death. Zhang Heng said with scorching eyes and gritted teeth. Master, what you mean is... I plan to ask Yun Mo for help and take back the burial ground no matter what. Shen Kuo said. Yun Mo is the leader of the Baidu mercenary group, which is also one of the top mercenary groups. Her strength is comparable to Zhang Heng's, and she also holds a rare intermediate profession. Yun Mo, that guy only cares about money. If you want him to help you, I'm afraid he will ask for a lot of money. Zhao Xian frowned, looking a little worried. Just for a burial place, it would cost tens of millions of gold coins. If we spend a lot of money to join forces with Yun Mo, it would be a big gamble. If we can successfully take over the burial ground, everything will be fine. But if you lose, the loss will be too great. The best way now is to cut losses in time and give up fighting for the Boneyard copy. That's nothing we can do. We've invested so much money. If we give up, we'll really lose money. Zhang Heng shook his head and said in a concentrated voice, it's only half an hour's difference. As long as we can join forces with Yun Mo, we can at least shorten it by an hour. At this moment, Zhang Heng was so angry that he had completely forgotten the overall interests of the Mad Lion mercenary group. Even if the burial ground is really taken, it is estimated that it will be difficult to recover the losses within a few years. All right. Zhao Xian didn't try to persuade him any further. He knew the captain's temper and knew that once he made a decision, he would never change it. On the other side, Lu Xingchi and Jiulangxi walked out of the copy vortex. Shen Kuo immediately went up to him, his face full of concern. Brother Lu, how are you? Are you not hurt? With Schwetter following me, I don't think it will be easy for me to get hurt. Lu Xingchi looked at the person next to him and smiled slightly. Jiulangxi curled her lips and muttered softly, don't make fun of me. I only used the healing spell once from beginning to end. Ha ha ha. I knew you could do it. Shen Kuo smiled and patted Lu Xingchi on the shoulder, saying with a smile, you didn't see it just now. Zhang Heng was so angry that his mouth was crooked, don't mention how funny it was. They left. Lu Xingchi looked around but did not see anyone from the Mad Lion mercenaries. Let's go. They won't be able to stay here anymore. Shen Kuo smiled happily. In this case, the burial ground is still your territory, right? Lu Xingchi smiled slightly and walked slowly towards the end of the team. Of course, 4.5 hours is already the limit for the Mad Lion mercenary group, otherwise they wouldn't be able to move so fast. After 6 days, the burial ground will completely belong to our Greedy Wolf mercenary group. Shen Kuo nodded and spoke cheerfully. In 6 days, everything is possible. Lu Xingchi frowned slightly, as if he had thought of something feasible. For the sake of safety, we should try to shorten the copy record as much as possible. You mean 4 hours? Isn't that your limit? Shen Kuo heard the hidden meaning in the words and looked extremely excited. For 2 people who are at a higher level, 4 hours is already very fast. You know, it usually takes more than 10 hours for an ordinary team to challenge a nightmare-level bone burial ground. Of course not. The captain turned the boneyard upside down and left not a single monster behind. Without waiting for Lu Xingchi to speak, Jiulangxi explained with a smile. The mutant monsters aren't left behind either. Shen Kuo's eyes widened. Lu Xingchi nodded, yes, otherwise I wouldn't be able to reach level 15. Hearing this, Shen Kuo noticed that both of them had already broken through level 15. This upgrade speed is really exaggerated. I remember that when the 2 of them entered the dungeon, they were only level 13. Jumping 2 levels at once, the upgrade speed is comparable to riding a rocket. However, thinking of the Oracle Priest's talent aura and the double experience reward for breaking the record, Shen Kuo felt relieved. Chapter 44. Brother Lu, you really opened my eyes. Shen Kuo exclaimed with a complicated look. Ever since he met Lu Xingchi, he felt that his worldview had been reshaped. After a while, Lu Xingchi received a gift of gold coins from Shen Kuo. A full 10 million gold coins. The 7 days haven't even arrived yet, and you gave it to me so early. Lu Xingchi was a little surprised. Logically speaking, the Boneyard Dungeon has been upgraded for less than 7 days, and anything could happen during this period. Even if the record is broken by someone else, the greedy wolf mercenary group will still not be able to retake the burial ground. Shen Kuo laughed heartily and said, Shen Kuo, always keep my word. Even if you fail in the challenge, I will not default on the 10 million. Then I will refuse it disrespectfully. With a slight bow, Lu Xingchi accepted the gift. As soon as he got the gold coins, Lu Xingchi transferred half of them to Jiangxiu. Your gold coin donation was rejected. Lu Xingchi was stunned for a moment and subconsciously looked at Jiangxiu beside him. But before he could say anything, Jiangxiu spoke first. You said that we would just split the dungeon profits equally. This money was an agreement between you and Captain Shen. There's no reason to split it with me. Lu Xingchi respected his teammates' wishes and did not force them. He knew that Jiangxiu was not short of money, and 5 million gold coins were nothing in her eyes. Why are there so many fewer people all of a sudden? After arriving at the end of the line, Lu Xingchi discovered that most of the people in the queue had disappeared. Not long ago, the team lined up all the way to the outskirts of the dungeon base, but now it is nearly one half smaller. Shen Kuo explained with a smile, most of them are mercenaries who are here to pick up the spoils. When they saw that there was no hope of breaking the record, they naturally gave up. I see. Lu Xingchi nodded slightly. This is a good thing for him, as the waiting time is reduced by half. It looks like it will be their turn in less than 2 hours. Schwetter, you wait in line here, I'll be back soon. There were too many people and too noisy an environment here, so Lu Xingchi couldn't calm down and deduce the weapons. Good. Jiangxiu didn't ask any more questions, just smiled and nodded. After a while, Lu Xingchen found a secluded cave and walked straight in. He first released all the mechanical hounds and let them hunt wild monsters. Although the experience gained from killing wild monsters is not very beneficial to Lu Xingchi. But there is no reason to waste the experience gained for free. A little bit of accumulation will eventually bring benefits. After releasing the mechanical hound, Lu Xingchi opened the sales column and found that all the consignment items from yesterday had been sold. Today, the total amount of gold coins has reached more than 14 million. Hiss. Lu Xingchi couldn't help but take a breath and counted for a long time before he finally figured it out. He had lived a hard life since he was a child and had never seen so much money. It's important to upgrade your skills first. While talking to himself, Lu Xingchi opened the online trading house and bought 4 skill upgrade scrolls. The 3rd level skill upgrade scroll was sold at 200,000 gold coins each, and the total cost was 800,000 gold coins. In the past, Lu Xingchi would have felt very distressed to spend so much money at once. But now he doesn't feel anything. He is a multimillionaire now, and a mere 800,000 is not worth mentioning. Level 3 skill upgrade scroll, with a success rate of 70%. This time my luck was pretty good, and all 4 skill upgrade scrolls were successful at once. In this way, Lu Xingchi's 4 unmastered skills were all upgraded to level 4. The basic storage limit of the mechanical factory has increased from 10 to 15. The level of the mechanical hound also kept pace with Lu Xingchi, reaching level 15, and its attributes were greatly improved. As the skill level increases, the skill multipliers of explosive bomb and mechanical detonation are further improved. After completing the skill upgrade, Lu Xingchi began searching for a level 20 main weapon. Compared to level 15 weapons, level 20 weapons have more options. On weekdays, Lu Xingchi would search for weapons by price, from low to high. Now Lu Xingchi still sorts by price, but from high to low. A level 20 main weapon only costs 1 million gold coins at most, so there is no pressure at all. 1 million weapons is really a lot. For a moment, Lu Xingchi was a little dazzled by the choices. With the intention of giving it a try, Lu Xingchi tried to find any rare blue weapons. After searching for a long time, Lu Xingchi still didn't find a rare blue weapon. It seems that sometimes, money is not everything. Lu Xingchi shook his head helplessly and sighed. The drop rate of rare weapons is extremely low, and their selling price far exceeds the price limit in the trading house. So most of them are offline transactions, and no one is willing to sell at a low price in online transactions. For example, the rare blue equipment that broke the record before, the Skeleton King ring, was eventually purchased by Shen Kuo for 3 million. Even if someone really does sell it at a low price, it will surely be snapped up instantly by a large chamber of commerce, leaving no room for individual traders to pick up the bargain. In the end, Lu Xingchi chose a rune pistol called Desert Eagle. This Desert Eagle doesn't have any special features, except that its total attributes are 200 points higher than most rune weapons. However, it is these extra 200 attribute points that make it nearly twice as expensive as ordinary blue weapons. If it were in the past, Liu Xingchi would definitely not consider it. But he is not short of money now, and 500,000 gold coins to buy 200 attribute points is acceptable to him. After obtaining the Desert Eagle, Liu Xingchi quickly disassembled it as usual. Then I simulated and deduced in my mind, and various mechanical structures continued to play out in my mind. After several attempts, Liu Xingchi successfully replicated the Desert Eagle. Main weapon, Desert Eagle, rules-free cube, quality, blue type, rune pistol attributes, strength plus 700, intelligence plus 700, agility plus 700, constitution plus 700 level 20 effect, attack lord monsters to gain 10% damage bonus hidden special effect, unique all skill effects are amplified by 20 times, amplification factor equals weapon level times 100%, not bad, not bad. Looking at the freshly made golden pistol, Liu Xingchi nodded repeatedly. The reason for choosing this rune pistol is not only because of its high attributes, but also because of its cool appearance. The Desert Eagle is golden all over, as if it were forged from gold, emitting a unique and charming luster. The heavy feel and comfortable grip make Liu Xingchi love this rune pistol. Without wasting time, Liu Xingchi waved his hand to disperse the weapons and opened the online trading room again. It's time to buy equipment. Since Liu Xingchi awakened, he has never worn any equipment or jewelry. On the one hand, it's because there's no need, and on the other hand, it's because there's no money. What type of equipment should I buy? Looking at the dazzling array of trading houses, Liu Xingchi couldn't help but feel conflicted. Chapter 45. There are many types of equipment in the trading house, which can be roughly divided into 5 types. They are heavy armor, plate armor, cloth armor, light armor, and leather armor. There is no occupational restriction on the wearing of equipment, and any type of equipment can be equipped regardless of the occupation. It's just that the attributes required by most professions are completely different, so everyone will choose fixed types of equipment. For example, knights, as the meat shields in the team, will naturally choose plate armor with the highest physical attribute bonus. For example, mages, as the magic output in the team, will mostly choose cloth armor with the highest intelligence attribute bonus. For example, assassins and archers will mostly choose light armor with the highest agility bonus. Whether it is heavy plate armor or light cloth armor, the properties they provide are important to rely on. Only leather armor is the most balanced equipment, with all 4 basic attributes equally covered. Without disadvantages, there are no advantages either. Especially in a team situation, people wearing leather armor have unclear positioning and are often disliked. Because of this, leather armor has become the least popular equipment. Except for the summoner profession, almost no one will choose leather armor. This does not mean that leather armor is weak. On the contrary, the total amount of attributes provided by leather armor is the highest among the 5 types of equipment. Light armor or leather armor. Liu Xingchi frowned and his brain started working at high speed. The mechanical hound has the highest benefit from its agility attribute, and wearing light armor can maximize its strength. However, this also means that the combat effectiveness of other mechanical creations will be seriously affected. If he only had the mechanical hound, he would have purchased light armor without hesitation. But after Liu Xingchi reached level 15, he gained another summoning skill. He still didn't know which attribute of the new mechanical creation would bring the highest benefit. Thinking of this, Liu Xingchi first closed the trading interface and opened the skill panel. He was in a hurry to finish the dungeon and didn't have time to check the new skills carefully. I saw 2 more skills on the skill tree, Slayer and Frost Bullet. The Slayer. Liu Xingchi stroked his chin and opened the detailed introduction of the skills. Slayer, level 4 summons a bronze-level mechanical spider. The mechanical spider is interesting. Liu Xingchi's mouth corners slightly raised, and he couldn't wait to try to summon. The space on the side began to distort, tearing into a dark space crack. In the dark crack, 8 blood-red eyes were first seen, followed by a creepy crunching sound. After a while, a slender spider leg stretched out from the crack, and its sharp front claw sank several inches into the rock. Oh my god, such long legs! Liu Xingchi looked at the spider legs that were almost as tall as himself and subconsciously took half a step back. This second mechanical creation was much larger than he had imagined. Not long after, the mechanical spider completely crawled out of the dark crack. Not to mention anything else, its height alone reaches 3 meters, and its 8 long legs spread out almost fill up the cave. Despite the mechanical spider's impressive size, it actually weighs the same as a mechanical hound. It's just that its mechanical structure is different. It has no steel skeleton and 8 long legs, making it look larger. With the little light in the cave, Xingchi circled around the mechanical spider. The mechanical spider is pitch black, with smooth body lines and covered with a black metal shell. The 8 long and flexible legs are as sharp as scimitars and can easily climb various terrains. 4 pairs of eyes radiated a bloody light, revealing a cold murderous aura that made people shudder. It looks quite intimidating, but I wonder what attributes it requires. Xingchi was quite satisfied with the appearance of the mechanical spider, and couldn't help but become curious about its attributes and skills. Scan the Slayer now to view detailed skill data. Slayer skills: Death Ray, Sticky Spider Web. Death Ray, Compound Eye fires a death ray to attack the enemy, causing damage equal to strength *100%. Sticky Spider Web, spray a sticky spider web to bind the enemy and drag it in front of you. It looks like it's a power attribute. Xingchi nodded thoughtfully, and already had the answer in his mind. The required attributes of mechanical hounds and mechanical spiders are completely different. Death Ray and Sticky Spider Web, both skills are also related to the strength attribute. In this case, light armor with a single attribute is naturally excluded. Without much hesitation, Xingchi reopened the online trading platform. Now he is extremely rich and he bought a complete set of level 15 blue equipment and jewelry with a single wave of his hand. The upper limit of the price for level 15 equipment is only 500,000, so it is naturally not that expensive. There are 5 blue equipment in total: Ink Shadow Top, Ink Shadow Pants, Ink Shadow Belt, Ink Shadow Shoulders, and Ink Shadow Boots. There are also 3 pieces of blue jewelry: the Ink Shadow Ring, the Ink Shadow Necklace, and the Ink Shadow Bracelet. Each piece costs an average of 300,000 gold coins, and a complete set costs 2.4 million gold coins. For level 15 blue equipment, this is already a pretty good set. Xingchi equipped the suit, and the original clothes automatically went into the backpack. This set is called the Ink Shadow set, and all of them are produced from the same copy. The overall color is mainly dark black, with dark gold dragon patterns as embellishments. The design of the Moying suit is simple and elegant, with just the right amount of gold embellishment, revealing a calm and mysterious atmosphere. Leather armor is also extremely comfortable to wear, has a moderate weight, provides good protection, and looks very handsome. If it weren't for the attribute bonus, many people would probably choose to wear leather armor. Wearing the Moying suit greatly improved Xingchi's overall attributes. However, compared with the level 20 main weapon, a single piece of equipment is completely inadequate. Even a complete set of level 15 blue suit adds a total of 3,200 attribute points. The Desert Eagle has a total of 2,800 attributes, and the Ink Shadow 8-piece set only has 400 more attributes. This situation occurs, on the one hand, because of the difference in equipment levels, and on the other hand, because the main weapon already has a higher proportion of attribute bonuses. No equipment is more important than the main weapon. After all the equipment was replaced, Xingchi checked the personal attribute panel. Name: Xingchi. Occupation: Mechanical Commander, only 1, level, 15 Strength, 1000 plus 1500 Intelligence, 1000 plus 1500 Agility, 1000 plus 1500 Physique, 1000 plus 1500 Main Weapon, Desert Eagle, Rules-Free Cube, Equipment, Ink Shadow Top, Ink Shadow Pants, Ink Shadow Shoulders, Ink Shadow Belt, Ink Shadow Boots. Jewelry: Moying Ring, Moying Necklace, Moying Bracelet. Title: King of Skeletons. Professional Talent: Quantum Link. Passive Skills: Mechanical Factory, Level 4, Perpetual Motion Engine, Mastery. Active Skills: Precision Shot, Normal Attack, Stalker, Level 4, Explosive Bomb, Level 4, Recall, Mastery, Static Stealth, Mastery, Mechanical Detonation, Level 4, Slayer, Level 4, Frost Bomb, Level 4. Chapter 46. The attribute has exceeded 2,500, not bad. Xingchi looked at the skyrocketing 4-dimensional attributes, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. His personal attribute panel is already quite good, but the attributes of mechanical creations are even more abnormal. Unable to wait, Xingchi checked the attribute panels of the 2 mechanical creations again. Hunter level, 15 Strength, 25,500 Intelligence, 25,500 Agility, 51,000 Physique, 25,500 Skills, Claw attack, bloodthirsty bite slayer level, 15 strength, 51,000 intelligence, 25,500 agility, 25,500 physique, 25,500 skills, death ray, sticky spider web. 3 attributes exceeded 20,000, and the highest attribute exceeded 50,000. With his current strength, even if he doesn't team up with Jiangxiu, he can do whatever he wants in the nightmare level bone burial ground. After solving the equipment problem, Liu Xingchi turned his attention back to the mechanical spider. The mechanical spider has 2 skills, death ray and sticky spider web. Little spider, show me your skills. Liu Xingchi patted the mechanical spider. Crack, crack. As if understanding Liu Xingchi's words, the mechanical spider nodded. After tossing around for a while, the 8 long legs finally found a suitable target to attack, a huge rock outside the cave. Call out! A blood-red laser shot out from the mechanical spider's compound eyes and accurately hit the huge rock outside the cave. Boom! There was only a loud bang, and the 10-meter-high boulder was pierced through in an instant. Next to the transparent hole, there is still some red lava, the power of which is terrifying. Oh my god, it's so amazing! Liu Xingchi's throat trembled and he was extremely excited. Before he could recover from his shock, the mechanical spider moved again. The mechanical spider suddenly spit out a large silver net, which hit the boulder 100 meters away accurately with lightning speed. Crunch! The mechanical spider is like a fisherman going out to sea to fish, collecting his nets, waving his 2 claws diligently. The huge rock 100 meters away was being dragged back by the mechanical spider at a speed visible to the naked eye. It is hard to imagine that the mechanical spider can actually drag objects that are dozens of times heavier than itself. Don't delay, you'll block the hole again. Seeing a huge rock larger than the cave entrance approaching rapidly, Liu Xingchi quickly spoke up to stop it. After receiving the order, the mechanical spider quickly waved its claws to cut off the connecting spider silk. Not bad, not bad. Finally, we have a long-range attack method. Liu Xingchi was very satisfied with the second mechanical creation. It not only fills the gap in long-range attack methods, but also provides an additional means of physical control. After figuring out the mechanical spider's skills, Liu Xingchi checked the second new skill. Frost Bullet, level 4. The cube of the infinite cube is equipped with a frost rune. Bullets hitting the cube will reduce agility and cause a slowing effect. The effect depends on the agility and skill level. Slowing effect. Different from the deceleration effect, it simply reduces the movement speed. Slow effects slow down overall speed, including casting speed and attack speed. The 4th level Frost Bomb can reduce the opponent's agility by 4% based on Liu Xingchi's own agility. With the hidden special effect of the Rubik's Cube, the agility attribute is reduced by 80%. Liu Xingchi's current agility attribute is 2,500, and a hit from a frost bullet can reduce 2,000 points of the attribute. The agility attribute can be reduced to 1 point at the lowest, which is almost the same as being stun. I don't know if these frost bombs can be stacked. Liu Xingchi stroked his chin and muttered to himself, if it can be superimposed, this will be another magical skill. Unfortunately, all the wild monsters nearby had been killed by the mechanical hounds, so he had no way to conduct the experiment. We can only wait until we enter the dungeon again and use those poor monsters as test subjects. I almost forgot the main thing. Liu Xingchi seemed to remember something and immediately sat cross-legged on the ground. He took out all the mental recovery potions in his backpack. After the mechanical factory skills were upgraded, the maximum storage capacity increased significantly. The basic storage capacity increased from 10 to 15, and after the hidden special effects were added, it became 300. Gurgle. After drinking the mental power potion in one gulp, Liu Xingchi began to summon mechanical spiders without stopping. Every time he summoned a mechanical spider, Liu Xingchi would release it out of the cave to hunt. He wanted to test the hunting efficiency of the mechanical spider. After summoning about 50 mechanical spiders, Liu Xingchi finally came to a conclusion. The hunting speed of the mechanical spider is still not as fast as that of the mechanical hound. But this is also expected, after all, the mechanical hound moves much faster. This does not mean that the mechanical spider is weaker than the mechanical hound, but that the two have different advantages. Just like the names of the two mechanical creations, the stalker is better suited for hunting prey, while the slayer is better suited for killing. Hunter, this name is not for nothing. Liu Xingchi touched his nose and then began to synchronously summon the mechanical hound. The little experiment just now made him understand many things, and perhaps he didn't need too many mechanical spiders. If we only talk about the output ability of standing still, the mechanical spider is far superior to the mechanical hound. However, in the wild and in dungeons, finding monsters is far more important than killing them, and the advantage of the mechanical hound's super high movement speed is reflected. After weighing the pros and cons, Lu Xingchi decided to summon 100 mechanical spiders and use the rest to summon mechanical hounds. 2 hours later, Lu Xingchi finally filled up the machinery factory. In this way, there are a total of 100 mechanical spiders and 200 mechanical hounds in the mechanical factory. The quantum link talent is also due to the increase in the number of mechanical creations. The damage reduction increased from 150 times to 300 times. Hey! I'm finally done. Lu Xingchi exhaled a breath and slowly stood up. I guess the queue is almost full, so don't let Xingchi wait anxiously. Thinking of this, Lu Xingchi quickly walked towards the cave entrance. He had just left the cave and hadn't walked far when he suddenly stopped. Oh, yeah, the mechanical spider is so big and powerful, it seems like it would be a good mount. Lu Xingchi's eyes lit up and he immediately summoned out the mechanical spider. The mechanical spider is much larger than the mechanical hound, and it doesn't seem cramped at all even when carrying the 1.82 meter tall Lu Xingchi. The most important thing is that the mechanical spider walks very steadily, unlike the mechanical hound which has to move quickly and stop suddenly, and may be thrown out if you are not careful. The mechanical spider and Lu Xingchi were in tune with each other. After learning his thoughts, it lay on the ground very obediently. Lu Xingchi jumped up with a light leap and then sat down cross-legged. Crunch! The mechanical spider's 8 long legs are not for nothing. It can walk on any complex terrain as if it were flat ground. Lu Xingchi, who was sitting on it, didn't feel any bumps at all. It was so stable that he almost fell asleep. Although the mechanical spider is not as fast as the mechanical hound, it is much faster than Lu Xing. After a while, Lu Xingchi arrived at the outskirts of the dungeon base. Chapter 47. As soon as he approached the outskirts of the copy base, he immediately attracted a lot of people's attention. When everyone saw the mechanical spider, they were shocked for a moment. I thought it was some wild boss coming to kill me, but after seeing Lu Xingchi sitting on it, I felt a little relieved. The people outside silently made way for Lu Xingchi, their expressions full of awe. I stared at his departing back and was unable to come back to my senses for a long time. Strange, the attributes are not high? Why is the oppression so terrifying? Yeah, you noticed it too. This giant spider runs so fast, its attributes shouldn't be so low. God, Lu is really low-key. He must have brought a treasure that hides his power. The mechanical spider showed strength that was beyond common sense, and many people were talking about it. In just half a minute, Lu Xingchi arrived at the copy vortex. With a light leap, he landed next to Xingchi. Sorry to have kept you waiting for so long. Lu Xingchi said. You've come just in time. It will be our turn soon. Xingchi smiled slightly, then looked at the mechanical spider beside him. Is this your new mechanical creation? Lu Xingchi nodded. Yes, his name is Slaughterer, and he is very well behaved. This name doesn't sound very good. After taking a glance at the murderous mechanical spider, Xingchi's face was filled with black lines. Perhaps because of its size and appearance, the mechanical spider is much more oppressive than the mechanical hound. Everyone around consciously kept a safe distance, for fear of being accidentally injured by the 8 long legs. It just looks scary. You'll get used to it. Lu Xingchi touched his nose and said lightly. As the two were talking, 2 teams walked out of the vortex of the dungeon one after another. Lu Xingchi walked forward quickly and put his hand into the vortex of the copy with ease. There is no suspense at all, it is naturally the highest difficulty nightmare level. Swish! With a flash of light, the 2 of them disappeared at the same time. The second time she entered the nightmare level bone burial ground, Xingchi was no longer afraid. As soon as he entered the bone burial ground, Lu Xingchi released all 200 mechanical hounds. This time the purpose is not only to upgrade, but also to shorten the recording time. Therefore, Lu Xingchi did not plan to kill all the monsters in the bone burial ground. It would be enough to reach the minimum required 60% exploration level. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as the 200 mechanical hounds landed on the ground, they turned into black lightning and disappeared on the spot. With 50,000 points of agility, its speed reaches an incredible level, which is difficult to see even with the naked eye. The running path of the mechanical hound seems chaotic, but it actually contains mysteries. Liu Xing had already known the terrain of the bone burial ground very well, and he also remembered exactly where the monster spawn points were. He didn't plan to let the mechanical hounds hunt the corrupted zombies, but to lure them out. After all, it takes quite a lot of time for the corrupt corpses to crawl out of the withered tomb, which seriously slows down the progress. As long as they attract hatred, they will eventually gather together and kill each other. Your strength has improved a lot. You should be able to break through 2 hours this time, right? Jialangxiu asked softly. 2 hours. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head. 2 hours is not safe, but 20 minutes is safe. 20 minutes. Jialangxiu frowned slightly, her face full of disbelief. It's not that I don't believe in Liu Xingchi's ability, it's just that traveling takes time. The Boneyard dungeon is quite large. Even without counting the time spent on killing monsters, it would take at least an hour just to travel there. Of course it wouldn't work in the past, but now we have little spiders. As he spoke, Liu Xingchi released 2 mechanical spiders. Although the mechanical spider's movement speed is not as fast as that of the mechanical hound, it is still much faster than Liu Xingchi. More than 20,000 points of agility are not fake. Little spider, get down. At the command, the 2 mechanical spiders lay down at the same time. Liu Xingchi rode on one of the mechanical spiders and turned around to see that Jialangxiu was still motionless. Perhaps because she felt the strong pressure from the mechanical spider, Jialangxiu was afraid to touch it. If you are really scared, you can try the mechanical hound first. Liu Xingchi touched his chin and summoned another mechanical hound. Woof woof. The mechanical hound ran to Jialangxiu and barked excitedly twice. Jialangxiu glanced at the mechanical hound, and after a mental struggle, she finally climbed onto the mechanical spider. There is no way. The mechanical hound is too small and cannot be used as a mount. Full speed ahead. After Jialangxiu sat down firmly, Liu Xingchi gave orders. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. The mechanical spider waved its 8 long legs, getting faster and faster, and in the end only its afterimage could be seen. The mechanical spider was running at full speed at an astonishing speed. Jialangxiu only felt the wind in her ears and the surrounding scenery was rapidly receding. No matter how rough the road conditions are, the mechanical spider can remain absolutely stable. This is too fast. Jialangxiu's long hair kept dancing wildly backwards. This feeling is more exciting than racing, and it's quite fun after you get used to it. After adapting, the tension on Jialangxiu's face was gone, and was replaced by a smile that came from the heart. In just over 10 minutes, the 2 of them arrived at the poisonous tunnel. What puzzled Jialangxiu was that she hadn't received any experience notification in such a long time. This means that not a single corrupt corpse was killed, and the poisonous tunnel barrier naturally did not disappear. Captain, what are you doing? Jialangxiu asked in a low voice, confused. Don't worry, it's coming soon. Liu Xingchi smiled slightly, as if everything was under control. 3 minutes later, a large group of mechanical hounds appeared in sight. Behind them was a dense swarm of zombies, so many that it made people's scalp tingle. Ah! The corrupt corpse let out a shrill roar, and the ground was shaking slightly. The arrival of such a massive tide of zombies caused the visual impact to the maximum. Jialangxiu had never seen such a horrifying scene before, and her face turned pale unconsciously. Liu Xingchi, on the other hand, looked indifferent and snapped his fingers lightly. A full 100 mechanical spiders appeared at the same time, arranged in an orderly manner, and formed a steel wall. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All the mechanical spiders attacked at the same time, and hundreds of death shots formed an impenetrable firepower web. The power of the death ray was so terrifying that it pierced through more than a dozen zombies before dissipating. For a moment, the scene was like the wind blowing through a wheat field, with corpses falling down in large numbers. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 9450 experience points. Kill the corrupted ghoul and obtain corrupted venom fang *1. Kill the corrupted corpse ghost and gain 9450 experience points. Experience barrages were flooding the screen like crazy, with hundreds of them appearing in the blink of an eye. The experience progress bars of the 2 people increased visibly. This feeling of harvest is so great. Chapter 48. It's a pity that it was too short. Hundreds of corrupted zombies were not enough for the mechanical army to slaughter. But in just a few seconds, the last corrupt corpse fell completely. The poisonous passage barrier also completely disappeared, and the total time was less than 15 minutes. Gurgle. Jialangxiu was completely stunned. She stared blankly at the corpses on the ground and didn't come back to her senses for a long time. I thought the mechanical hound was scary enough, but I didn't expect the mechanical spider to be even crazier. It was simply born for killing. Hurry up, let's go. The mechanical spider under Liu Xingqi's seat changed direction and headed towards the highly poisonous corridor. This time, in order to set a record that cannot be broken, no time can be wasted. Before Jialangxiu could come to her senses, the mechanical spider under her immediately followed suit. Seeing this, Jialangxiu immediately chanted, and a golden holy light spread out. Within the purification field, Liu Xingqi no longer had any worries. After entering the highly toxic passage, the mechanical spider did not slow down and continued to run at high speed. Halfway through the journey, the sarcophagi opened at the same time, and hundreds of poisonous zombies rushed out. The tunnel was once again filled with poisonous fog, but it had no effect. The linear enclosed space seems to be tailor-made for the mechanical spider. The death rays were like a string of candied haws. The poisonous zombies had no power to resist and fell down one after another. The mechanical hounds cleared the way ahead, clearing out the poisonous zombies that had managed to escape the death rays. The mechanical spider followed closely behind and rushed out of the poisonous passage in less than a minute. This time, in order to save time, Liu Xingqi did not touch the blood coffin. Call out! As soon as it rushed out of the tunnel, a death ray shot out from the mechanical spider's compound eyes. The huge black coffin exploded instantly, and the skeleton ghost king slowly floated out. That's great! Let me try out my skills on you. Liu Xingqi was not in a hurry to kill the skeleton ghost king, but was thinking about testing his skills. The skeleton ghost king's agility attribute far exceeds that of Liu Xingqi, reaching 10,000 points, making him an excellent test subject. Frost Bullet. Liu Xingqi raised the rune pistol and infused it with frost power. Suddenly, gorgeous snowflake runes appeared on the body of the Desert Eagle gun, emitting bursts of cold air. Bang! With a dull gunshot, the frost bullet accurately hit the skeleton ghost king. Suddenly, an extreme chill broke out, as if the space had solidified. The skeleton ghost king's body was covered with a thin layer of light blue frost, and his overall speed slowed down a lot. Taking this opportunity, Liu Xingqi quickly opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the data of the skeleton ghost king. Skeleton ghost king, Lord, level, 20 strength, 14,000 intelligence, 14,000 agility, 8,000 physique, 15,000 skills, hellish will-o'-the-wisp, ghost king's command, immortal blessing. Sure enough, the skeleton ghost king's agility dropped by 2,000 points, from 10,000 to 8,000. It depends on whether it can be superimposed. While talking to himself, Liu Xingqi pulled the trigger frantically, firing more than a dozen bullets in a row. The skeleton ghost king was so huge that he couldn't hide at all, and all the ice bullets hit him. The originally light blue frost has now turned into azure blue. If you use the Eye of Truth to check at this moment, you can see a snowflake icon under the skeleton king's health bar. This is the debuff icon, which means that the skeleton king is in a debuff state. In order to confirm the accuracy, Liu Xingqi scanned the skeleton ghost king data again. Skeleton ghost king, Lord, level, 20 strength, 14,000 intelligence, 14,000 agility, 1 physique, 15,000 skills, hellish will-o'-the-wisp, ghost king's command, immortal blessing. It can be stacked indeed. Liu Xingqi was overjoyed, another magical skill was born. A soft control skill has now become a hard control skill. What kind of courage is that? The skeleton ghost king was preparing to read out his opening remarks as usual. But after being slowed down, its speaking speed also became extremely slow. What happened to it? Jialangxiu looked at this funny scene and didn't understand what was going on. Liu Xingqi smiled slightly and explained, "It's nothing, I just slowed it down." Oh my god, isn't this something only a warlock can do? Jialangxiu was completely numb. It felt like an electric current was running from the head to the feet. The warlock class can release debuff skills that can weaken monsters. Therefore, in high difficulty dungeons, warlocks are one of the indispensable professions, just like priests. But even a warlock couldn't slow down the lord to such a degree. Maybe my skills are more comprehensive. Liu Xingqi touched his nose, not knowing how to explain. If it weren't for the special effects of the Rubik's Cube, the frost bullet wouldn't have become so terrifying. After testing his skills, Liu Xingqi did not waste any time. 100 mechanical spiders also rushed out of the corridor, lined up in a row, and began a crazy attack. The skeleton ghost king completely became a sitting duck, without even the chance to use his skills. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Hundreds of death rays attacked the skeleton Ghost King like a violent storm. The strength attribute of more than 50,000 makes their damage reach an extremely terrifying level. The skeleton Ghost King's health is dropping madly at an incredible speed. This time, Xingchi did not plan to use mechanical detonation. Because there is absolutely no need for this, even if the physical fitness is doubled, the attributes are still overwhelming. By the time the mechanical hound ran to the skeleton Ghost King, it would have probably fallen down. Boom! In less than 10 seconds, the skeleton Ghost King fell to the ground with a loud bang. Kill the skeleton Ghost King and gain 110,000 experience points. Kill the skeleton Ghost King and obtain the Soul Top. Obtain rare material, Soul Fire. Congratulations on breaking the record of the Land of Bones, Nightmare level, dungeon again, with a new record of 16 minutes and 30 seconds. The two people's experience progress bars remained synchronized and reached 52%. After breaking through level 15, the experience bar skyrocketed again. Only by breaking the record for the first time can you get double rewards and a 100% drop rate of top quality equipment. This time when I cleared the dungeon, I didn't get double the experience points, so I couldn't repeat the feat of leveling up twice in a row. Ah! Rare equipment is not so easy to find. Xingchi glanced at the spoils and shook his head in disappointment. It is almost impossible to get rare blue items like the Skeleton King Ring and the Skeleton Scepter when you pass through the boneyard on a normal day. Jialangxiu's focus was different. She just stared blankly at the new record. 16 minutes to clear the nightmare level bone burial ground. This was several minutes faster than Xingchi had expected. It was really scary. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would never have believed it. After distributing the spoils, Xingchi looked at Jialangxiu and said softly, "What are you daydreaming about? Let's go. It's just a level 20 nightmare dungeon. There's no need to be so surprised." Chapter 49. For Xingchi now, he even wants to challenge the level 30 copy. It's a pity that there is no level 30 copy in the first isolation area, and the highest level copy is only level 25. However, there are level 30 world lords, but they appear randomly and are completely unpredictable. Oh! Jialangxiu trotted all the way and hurriedly followed. The outskirts of the copy station. Zhang Heng, with the elite members of the Mad Lion mercenary group, was approaching the core dungeon area. Behind him was a purple-robed woman, about 30 years old, who followed him slowly. This person is none other than the leader of the Baidu mercenary group. Yun Mo, Captain Yun, can you please walk faster? Zhang Heng looked back and couldn't help but urge him. Yun Mo smiled lightly and said calmly, "Don't worry, since I have taken your money, are you afraid that I will run away?" "It's not that I'm afraid you'll run away, it's just that the special potion is about to lose its effect, we have to hurry. It has been almost 24 hours since Zhang Heng used the special medicine. Once the time limit has passed, he will enter a period of weakness. He only has one chance, and if he fails, there will be nothing he can do. Don't worry, it's just a difference of half an hour. If we work together, we can shorten it by at least an hour." Yun Mo smiled and didn't really take the matter to heart. The Mad Lion mercenary group and the Greedy Wolf mercenary group are both competitors, and it will be the same no matter who wins the burial ground. Anyway, she has already received a deposit of 10 million, so whether it is successful or not, she will make a profit. "That's good. I'll leave everything to you." Zhang Heng nodded, his expression relaxed a little. But before the group could enter the core area, a system light curtain popped up forcibly. "Congratulations to the Greedy Wolf mercenary group for breaking the boneyard, nightmare level, record again. Instance, burial ground difficulty, nightmare level new record, 16 minutes and 30 seconds. Have I entered the weak period early? Why am I having hallucinations?" Zhang Heng couldn't believe his eyes and rubbed them subconsciously. How could it be 16 minutes and 30 seconds? He wouldn't dare to be so unrestrained even in his dreams. Everyone in the Crazy Lion mercenary group looked at each other in bewilderment for a moment. No one knows what exactly happened. This new record is too outrageous. Oh no! Yun Mo's eyes sparkled, and he said with a smile, "Old Zhang, let me make it clear first, this deposit is not refundable. Isn't this an illusion?" Zhang Heng seemed to realize something when he saw Yun Mo's reaction. "Master, it doesn't seem to be an illusion. We all saw it." Zhao Xin walked up slowly and cautiously reminded him. Hearing this, Zhang Heng's whole body went limp, as if he had lost all his soul. The members of the Crazy Lion mercenary group nearby quickly surrounded him and helped him up. "Captain, are you okay? How is this possible? How is this possible?" Zhang Heng's eyes were blank and he was mumbling to himself like in a dream. This time, the Mad Lion mercenary group suffered a huge loss. Not only have tens of millions of dollars been wasted, but now another 10 million has been lost. Zhang Heng took a deep breath and stood up slowly. "Forget it. I give in. What if I don't admit defeat? The gap in strength is too big and cannot be bridged by hard work alone." Besides, he no longer dared to offend Liu Xingchi, in case he really provoked him. If he took over the territory of the Mad Lion mercenary group due to a disagreement, then he would be a sinner. "It's not my fault for not helping you. I'm afraid even a god from heaven can't break this record." Yun Mo sighed. "I don't blame you. I don't plan to get the 10 million back." Zhang Heng shook his head and said in a deep voice. "By the way, who broke the record?" Yun Mo asked softly. "A candidate who has been in the wilderness for only a few days." Zhang Heng hadn't said anything before, but he just felt embarrassed. But now that things have come to this, there is no need to hide it anymore. "Oh my god, young people nowadays are really messed up." Yun Mo was also startled, and seemed to remember something, with a ripple in his eyes. Zhang Heng glanced at him and said calmly, "Don't have any bad ideas. That kid is very close to the daughter of the Jialan family. Be careful not to get into trouble." "What are you thinking about?" Yun Mo twisted her waist, turned slightly sideways, and whispered, "I was thinking, this kid is so powerful, maybe he can break into that place." "You mean the Lingxiu copy?" "That's right, the Hell-level Lingxiu dungeon is the only level 25 dungeon in the first isolation zone that no one has yet broken through." Yun Mo nodded and spoke in a serious tone. "Although I don't know what means that kid used to clear the bone burial ground so quickly, it's probably impossible for him to clear the Hell-level Spirit Ruins dungeon." Zhang Heng looked a little serious. The speed of clearing levels can indeed reflect one's strength to a certain extent, but it does not mean that one can challenge the Hell-level dungeon. The mortality rate in a Hell-level dungeon is frighteningly high. Even an elite team with all members at level 30 can die if they are not careful. The Ruins of the Hell Spirit is the most difficult level 25 dungeon among all the wilderness dungeons, bar none. In the level 25 dungeon, there are almost no challenges for novices, so it is not a territory that mercenaries fight over. Lingxiu is one of the main dungeons producing level 25 equipment, and is also frequently visited by top mercenary groups. Anyway, let's give it a try. Yun Mo smiled and said softly, "If we succeed, not only will the dungeon capacity increase, but we might also be able to get some rare equipment." "That makes sense." Zhang Heng nodded repeatedly. After the two reached an agreement, they walked towards the core area without stopping. Not long after, they saw Shen Kuo, Liu Xingchi, and others. "Hey, Captain Yun, what brings you here?" The moment Shen Kuo saw Yun Mo, he immediately guessed something. However, he did not expose it and still gave the two team leaders some face. "After all, we will still have to live in the wilderness in the future, and making too many enemies is not a good thing. Brother Shen, didn't I hear that your greedy wolf mercenary group has added 2 new generals? I came here to congratulate you." Yun Mo smiled slightly and greeted him. Yes. I'm here to congratulate you." Zhang Heng, who was standing by, nodded in agreement. He tried hard to force a smile, but when he thought about the tens of millions of dollars that had gone down the drain, he simply couldn't smile. "Oh, so that's how it is." Zhang Heng suppressed his laughter and said in a serious tone. "This is Brother Liu, right?" Yun Mo noticed Liu Xingchi at a glance and smiled his signature smile. He is indeed a young talent. He will definitely be a pillar of Daxia in the future. "Thank you for the compliment. What can I do for you too?" Liu Xingchi clasped his fists slightly, looking vaguely confused. Chapter 50. It's nothing serious. I just want to ask if you are interested in challenging a higher difficulty dungeon. I can recommend one for you. Yun Mo didn't say anything more and went straight to the point. Liu Xingchi's eyes lit up, and he quickly said, "I was thinking the same thing, what copy is it?" The level 20 copy was no longer challenging for him. He also did some calculations and concluded that if he continued to stay in the bone burial ground to grind, he could only reach level 18 before the joint exam. Level 18 already qualifies you to enter a top university, but it's still not very safe. If you want to go further, you have to attack the more advanced level 25 copy. It's a pity that the school lecture did not cover information on copies above level 20. Even Jiangxiu knew nothing about the level 25 copy. Lingxiu copy. Yun Mo smiled slightly and said softly. I haven't heard of it. Lu Xingchi shook his head and asked curiously, is there a hell level difficulty? Hearing this, Yun Mo and Zhang Heng looked at each other subconsciously. They were still thinking about how to start the conversation, but they didn't expect Lu Xingchi to be more anxious than them. Little brother, you are still really anxious. Yun Mo raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and slowly opened his red lips and spoke, this Lingxiu is not only of hell level difficulty, but no one has yet broken through the hell level. Oh, this is quite interesting. Lu Xingchi nodded thoughtfully, feeling delighted. No one has cleared the hell level, which is enough to show that the dungeon is very difficult and there will definitely not be many people queuing. I have a map of the Lingxiu dungeon and some related strategies. You can study them. As he spoke, Yun Mo stretched out his hand and handed 2 scrolls to Lu Xingchi. However, Lu Xingchi did not answer it, but looked at Yun Mo with a puzzled look. As the saying goes, no reward without merit. Before he knew Yun Mo's purpose clearly, he would not easily accept the other party's benefits. Little brother, you are really cautious. Yun Mo smiled awkwardly and explained, I don't have any bad intentions, I just hope that if you find any rare equipment you don't need, you can sell it to me first. That's no problem. I'll take it. Lu Xingchi let down his guard and raised his hand to take the map scroll. Seeing this, Zhang Heng beside him couldn't sit still anymore and immediately looked through his backpack. After a while, Zhang Heng came up with a smile, holding a talisman emitting precious light in his hand. Brother Lu, this is a little gift from me, please accept it. Zhang Heng smiled. Oh. Captain Zhang, you are really generous. You even gave away this copy of the teleportation talisman. Shen Kuo stroked his chin and looked at Zhang Heng in surprise. The dungeon teleportation talisman allows the team to instantly teleport out of the dungeon without having to clear the lord. To some extent, the copy teleportation talisman is also called a life-saving talisman, which can save lives at critical moments. This is nothing to be reluctant about, as long as Brother Lu doesn't hold grudges. Zhang Heng said this, but his chin was trembling slightly. Let bygones be bygones. Lu Xingchi raised his eyebrows slightly and said calmly, I don't remember any grudges between us. He wasn't just saying this for show, he truly felt that there was no conflict between him and Zhang Heng. As the leader of the Mad Lion mercenary group, Zhang Heng's seizure of territory is just a normal competitive behavior. Lu Xingchi did not refuse and took the copy teleportation talisman. Although I can't use this treasure for the time being, it's always good to be prepared. Brother Lu has a big vision, unlike someone else. As he spoke, Zhang Heng glanced at Shen Kuo who was snickering not far away. Hey, can you please speak properly? Why are you bullying me for no reason? Shen Kuo frowned slightly and said in a loud voice. Zhang Heng did not back down and said through gritted teeth, I don't know how lucky you are to meet a genius like Brother Lu. I think you are just jealous. I'm just jealous, what's wrong with that? That's because I have a good eye. I can tell at a glance that Brother Lu is definitely not an ordinary person. Looking at the two people arguing fiercely, Lu Xingchi shook his head helplessly. At this moment, the sun was setting in the west, and bonfires were lit around the dungeon base. Let's go. Lu Xingchi didn't stay long and left with Jiangxiu. The fire stretched the two people's shadows longer and longer, and finally disappeared into the night. Stop arguing, both of you. They've both left. Yun Mo finally couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up to dissuade them. Shen Kuo then noticed that the two men were gone, and said in a serious tone, it's getting late, they should go back to rest. Do they all live in your camp? Yun Mo asked curiously. Of course. Shen Kuo raised his head, his face full of pride. Then I'll stay at your place tonight, Yun Mo said. No problem. Shen Kuo agreed without thinking. Then I too. Zhang Heng hurried over. 1 million for accommodation. But before Zhang Heng could finish his words, Shen Kuo spoke first. Damn it, you are robbing me. Zhang Heng's face darkened and he couldn't help but want to swear. I can't help it. I'm just a small-minded person. I can stay here if I want. Shen Kuo smiled coldly and walked towards the mercenary camp without looking back. Seeing this, Yun Mo immediately followed. 1 million is 1 million, I'll pay it. Zhang Heng muttered softly and followed behind the two of them. It's not that I don't have a place to live, I'm just worried about being dumped by them. Shen Kuo looked back at Zhang Heng who was following him silently, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise slightly. He had never seen the usually arrogant Captain Zhang Heng so humble as he was today. All this was because of meeting Liu Xingchi. Captain Yun, you are in such a hurry to send brother Liu to Lingxiu. Are you afraid that he will take your territory? Zhang Heng asked suddenly. Some things are better left unsaid. There is no need to speak them out. Yun Mo smiled faintly and said softly. The appearance of Liu Xingchi completely broke the balance between the mercenary groups. If Liu Xingchi challenges all level 20 dungeons one by one, it is estimated that all dungeon records will be refreshed. This does not affect the ownership of the mercenary group's territory, but it is really embarrassing. The reason why the candidates are willing to spend money to hire a mercenary group is mainly because they believe in their strength. The best reflection of strength is the highest difficulty record of the dungeon. Once the record is broken, the mercenary group's business will inevitably be affected. In this case, our greedy wolf mercenary group has suffered a loss. When purchasing equipment and materials, it is not too much for me to ask for priority, right? Shen Kuo looked extremely serious and spoke in a serious voice. That's fine with me. Yun Mo's eyes flashed with a hint of hesitation, and he continued, but are you so sure that brother Liu can definitely pass the hell level spirit ruins? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.